Chapter 113. It's finally starting. There's going to be a good show. That's right. The competition for the first place in the outer sect has always been fierce. Senior Brother Tang was just a small warrior at the 3rd tier of the body-tempering realm. I didn't expect him to reach the 9th tier in just a few months. Senior Sister Yun Shui has been famous for a long time. Tang Ao might not be able to beat her. I think so too. Below the arena, the spectating disciples were guessing the outcome of this battle. Yun Shui gracefully jumped onto the arena. Her plain white dress fluttered in the wind, like a butterfly spreading its wings or a fairy descending to the mortal world. Yun Shui accepts the challenge. Please enlighten me. Her words were short and cold, just like her cold and elegant face that did not belong to the mortal world. Please. Tang Ao politely made a gesture, and with a thought, everyone felt as if they were seeing an ancient battlefield where a general was commanding thousands of soldiers and horses to fight against the enemy. It was the 100-battle spear soul's slaughter chi that caused the disciples to hallucinate. Yun Shui's almond-shaped eyes widened, and with a shout, 3 life spirits appeared above her head. The surrounding spiritual chi fluctuated violently. If you don't show all your life spirits, then you'd better admit defeat. Her tone was as cold as snow, without a trace of emotion. It had an irresistible charm. Oh my God, there are 3 8th-tier life spirits. One is the Thunderfire Staff Soul, one is the 6 Paths Pagoda Soul, and one is the Silk of Stars Soul. They are all rare weapon-type life spirits. That's right, and they are all life spirits for killing. Senior Brother Tang is not easy to deal with. Tang Ao didn't care about the opinions of others. All right, please enlighten me, Senior Sister Yun Shui. Once again, he summoned a 9th-tier Green Lotus Sword Soul. 3 Green Lotus swords containing the indestructible sword will flew out from the center of the flower, forming a triangular formation to attack. Yun Shui was a little angry. She had already summoned 3 life spirits, and she had specially advised him to take it seriously. Yet, Tang Ao still used 2 uneven life spirits to deal with her. Watch out! Immediately, Yun Shui raised the illusory Thunderfire Staff and struck at Tang Ao. At the same time, she controlled the 6 Paths Pagoda to fly above Tang Ao's head with her divine soul. The pagoda spun rapidly, and the size of the pagoda increased with the speed of its rotation. The star silk soul coiled around Yun Shui's arms, and with Yun Shui's beautiful face, it really made people think that she was a fairy descending from heaven. Ah, goddess! Go, goddess! Tang Ao remained unmoved. He operated the mental cultivation method of the Azure Dragon Shadow Spear, and his Zhun Qi gradually gathered into a small azure dragon wrapped around the 100-battle spear soul. The cold and threatening spear tip shot out, letting out dragon roars from time to time, provoking Yun Shui. The 3 Green Lotus swords flew and rotated around Tang Ao like loyal hounds, protecting Tang Ao's safety and attacking the invading enemies. Thump! Before the spear and staff of the 2 came into contact, the Green Lotus sword had already clashed with the 6 Paths Pagoda. It turned out that Yun Shui saw that Tang Ao only summoned 2 Fate Souls, so she secretly controlled the 6 Paths Pagoda to launch a sneak attack on Tang Ao, wanting to knock him down. Who knew that the Green Lotus Sword had the consciousness to protect itself, and it saw through the 6 Paths Pagoda and fought with it. Without the threat of the 6 Paths Pagoda, Tang Ao became even more fearless. He wielded his spear like a fish in the water, and the spear tip flashed again and again like dancing pear blossoms, perfectly blocking Yun Shui's Thunderfire Staff every time. On the other hand, the Red Star Silk Soul was rather troublesome. It was like a snake or insect, and it attacked from a remote corner. If it was not for the amazing defense of the Iron Steel Sand, Tang Ao would have already fallen to the ground. The 2 went back and forth like a horse lantern. You retreated, you advanced, you dodged, I chased, and they fought to their heart's content. Sometimes it was a clash of pure physical strength. Sometimes it was a clash of fancy moves. Sometimes it was the friction between divine senses and sometimes it was a battle between fate souls. The moves were gorgeous, and the content was rich. The spectating disciples didn't even dare to breathe loudly, for fear that they would miss an important detail. The elders were also dumbfounded. They were all existences at the peak of the origin martial realm, but before this battle, they were still like ignorant children. Lin Jiang clenched his fists and waved them around. Anxiety was written all over his weather-beaten face. Yun Shui was his disciple, and that Tang Ao was brought into the Seven Kills sect by himself. Both his hands were made of flesh, and if he lost or accidentally got injured, Lin Jiang would be extremely worried. Just when the two were evenly matched, Yin Shui suddenly retreated while fighting, luring Tang Ao over from the other side. What is he doing? Tang Ao's heart was as sharp as a hair, and he was instantly alerted. Suddenly, he heard the sound of something breaking through the air behind him. Tang Ao flipped his spear and sent the Six Paths Pagoda flying. Yin Shui took this opportunity to brandish the Thunder Fire Staff again and again, sending out head-sized purple lightning bolts towards Tang Ao with crackling sounds. Tang Ao just sent the Six Paths Pagoda flying. Borrowing the force from the spear shaft, he swung the end of the spear. Pung, pung, pung. The lightning balls were all destroyed. Activating Xian Lian legs, he suddenly exerted strength in his legs and soared into the air. The Azure Dragon Nether Shadow Spear was activated, and the Azure Dragon hidden at the spear tip seemed to be alive. It opened its bloody mouth and bit towards Yin Shui. Tang Ao, on the other hand, activated the Ancient God Moving Heaven technique to protect himself. He aimed his spear at Yin Shui's head. Yin Shui faced the attack with his staff. He was not afraid of the Azure Dragon in the slightest and swung his staff at its head. Who knew that the Azure Dragon seemed to have a mind of its own and bit Yin Shui's Thunderfire staff. No matter how Yin Shui tried to push it away, it wouldn't let go. This was to buy time for Tang Ao. The 100 Battle Spear's soul suddenly descended and was about to attack. It's about to end. Ding! The muffled sound of metal clashing came again. The Six Paths Pagoda was now above Yin Shui's head. The Six Paths Pagoda itself was already cracked, and it would crumble completely after a few more heavy attacks. Let's see how many more attacks you can block. Tang Ao was a little annoyed. He finally had a chance, but it was blocked. He raised the 100 Battle Spear Soul and smashed a few more times, completely destroying the Six Paths Pagoda. Unreasonable, Yin Shui shouted, and with a thought, the Silk of Stars' soul stuck to Tang Ao as if it had eyes. No matter where Tang Ao jumped to, it would follow him. After using the 100 Battle Spear Soul to send it flying, Yin Shui chased after it again. The 3 green lotus swords cut the Silk of Stars' soul into pieces, but it still couldn't stop it. Forget it. Even if I lose, I will drag her down first. Tang Ao was willing to be cut into pieces and dared to drag the Emperor down. Ignoring the Silk of Stars soul that chased after him, Zhong Yu leaped forward with his spear and the 3 green lotus swords guarding him. A strange smile appeared on Yin Shui's face. So impatient already? I haven't even used my full strength. A bright light flashed on top of Yin Shui's head, and Tang Ao's pupils shrunk in shock. Pum, pum. The 2 people in the arena were covered by layers of quintessential essence light screens, so the expressions on their faces couldn't be seen. All they could see was the various lights on the arena, and the sounds of collisions and air-tearing sounds rose and fell. The spirit chi around the arena was almost depleted. At the same time, there were explosive air waves blowing out from time to time, blowing the spectating disciples off their feet. That wasn't all. They had to be careful of the chi swords that came out of the battle from time to time. If they weren't careful, they would be injured. The disciples were so shocked that they couldn't close their mouths. Their eyes were wide open, and some were even sweating profusely, as if they were the ones fighting. Senior sister Yin Shui has 3 eighth heavens life souls and a rare demon refining ruler soul at the 9th heavens. She's actually on par with Tang Ao, who has 3 life souls. Although Tang Ao's 100 battle spear soul is 3 heavens less than the 3 life souls, Tang Ao's proficiency in spear arts makes up for this gap. What's more, Tang Ao has cultivated the Azure Dragon Nether Shadow Spear, a high-level spear art martial technique. This makes the 100 battle spear soul at the 5th heavens not inferior to any life soul at the 9th heavens. He can even use one spear for 2 purposes, making up for the lack of life souls compared to Yin Shui. Guyu watched with trepidation. She also sighed. The gap between her and Tang Ao was getting bigger and bigger. Chapter 115. Perhaps only someone like Tang Ao can be called a genius, a natural talent for cultivation. Tang Ao suddenly exerted strength in his legs and leaped into the air, chopping toward Yin Shui's head. The 100 battle spear soul broke through the layers of air barriers and directly hit Yin Shui's head. Yin Shui poured his true essence into the demon refining ruler soul and held it in front of his forehead, forcibly blocking Tang Ao's full force attack. The arena beneath their feet was finally unable to withstand the strength of the two of them, and a large pit split open, spreading out in all directions like a spider web. It should be known that this was a blue stone specially mined from the depths of the mountain. It was strong and resistant, but now it was forcibly shattered by the collision of the 2 moves. No, if this continues, sooner or later I will be exhausted to death by Tang Ao. I don't know what kind of physique this guy has, but he has great strength, thick true essence, and the defense of iron and steel sand is high. I have to finish this quickly. Yin Shui took another blow from Tang Ao's spear and thought to himself, I have to go all out. Then, when Tang Ao smashed down with his spear again, Yin Shui flashed and hurriedly retreated. Tang Ao, I admit that I underestimated you, but it really ends here. Crack! There were no clouds in the sky, and then the sky turned red as if it was burned by fire. All of this came from the void above Yin Shui's head. Chirp! A loud and clear birdsong resonated in the sky. A fiery red bird flapped its wings and flew out from the void above Yin Shui's head. After circling above the martial arts lecture square for a while, its body gradually condensed and shrank, transforming into a big red seal that was as big as a food box. On the seal was a lifelike big red bird with its wings folded. The bottom was engraved with a simple and obscure pattern, and the bottom was carved with the seal of flowers and birds. This is a heaven and earth phenomenon. Could it be a life spirit above the 12th firmament? An elder slammed the table in shock and stood up. He looked at the giant seal floating in midair in disbelief. Lin Jiang narrowed his eyes and looked for a while before confirming. That's right. It's a life soul of the 13th firmament. The one flapping its wings in the sky should be the legendary vermilion bird. If I'm not wrong, this should be one of the 5 major beast mark souls, the vermilion bird heaven scorching mark soul. I'm afraid Tang Ao is going to lose. Vermilion bird heaven burning mark? Once the vermilion bird appears, it can incinerate all living things. Tang Ao, this kid, alas, what a pity. The 9th elder also sighed in pity. Buzz. Suddenly, the imprint of the vermilion bird in the air emitted an endless pressure. If the pressure from Tang Ao's 9 layered heavens, 8 treasures goose plume saber was like a collapsing mountain, then the pressure from the imprint of the vermilion bird was like an endless tsunami. Plop. Thump. Immediately, some disciples could not bear it. Their faces flushed from the pressure, and they fainted. As for those who could bear it, including Guyu, their legs were trembling and their faces were pale. It was obvious that they had spent a lot of energy to resist. Tang Ao almost knelt down. Damn it, he cursed inwardly. Ancient God moving the heavens. When he activated it, his body's strength increased to offset the pressure. Originally, his ancient God moving the heavens was a hidden move. Together with the hidden jade and stone body, he pretended to be weak and gave Yin Shui the final blow. Who knew that it would be forced out by a life spirit of the 13th firmament? You can still make it if you admit defeat first. Otherwise, when the vermilion bird seal descends, you will lose miserably. Yun Shui said calmly, returning to her holy and unattainable self. You should be proud that you can fight with me until now. The second outer sect disciple can also enter the inner sect. Cut the crap. Watch my spear. Tang Ao used his martial art to spit out the blood. He used the 100-battle spear spirit to stab again. At the same time, the 3 undying sword forms formed by the green lotus sword spirit formed a triangle, intertwined with the 8 treasure goose feather blade, and blocked the vermilion bird seal. Oomph! Yin Shui's mind moved, and the vermilion bird seal emitted a chio sound as it smashed towards Tang Ao's head. Boom! The 3 undying sword forms and the 8 treasure goose feather blades formation was shattered. However, the seal did not show any signs of stopping. It smashed towards Tang Ao like a hot knife through butter, swearing that it would not stop until Tang Ao was smashed into meat paste. Tang Ao was slightly angry. He pointed his spear at the vermilion bird seal and cursed. I can easily reach the 13 firmament. How dare you, a small life spirit, act so arrogant in front of me? Piss off. Then, using the power of the mysterious valley kick, he jumped into the air and shot towards the vermilion bird seal like a sharp arrow. The spear tip was like an arrowhead. It flashed with a cold light and flew towards the vermilion bird seal with an unstoppable momentum. What is he doing? Is he crazy? Fighting the vermilion bird seal head-on? An elder was puzzled by Tang Ao's recklessness. Old man Lin Jiang stomped his feet in anger. He cursed Tang Ao for being reckless and acting without thinking. The surrounding disciples were also puzzled and shocked by Tang Ao's actions. Is senior brother Tang crazy? He's going to take the vermilion bird seal head-on? He's too careless. But it's also possible that senior brother Tang knows he's going to lose and is purposely taking a gamble. That's also possible. What a pity. Senior brother Tang is talented, but he's still lost to senior sister Yin Shui. That's not bad. Ever since senior sister Yin Shui entered the sect, she has won every battle and has never lost. For senior brother Tang to be able to fight with senior sister Yin Shui like this, it's enough for him to stand out from the crowd. Boom! Just when everyone thought that Tang Ao had lost his mind, a loud sound rang out like an alarm bell, waking all the disciples up. Following that, it was as if they were struck by lightning. This is impossible. How could this be? Even the elders who didn't think highly of Tang Ao had a look of shock on their faces. Even Lin Jiang was shocked when he saw the result. Tang Ao stabbed the bottom of the vermilion bird seal with his spear. Then, he bent his body like a bow and flicked the vermilion bird seal away. He flicked the vermilion bird seal away with his spear. After the vermilion bird seal flew out, the pressure disappeared. Many people fell to the ground and took deep breaths to recover. Yin Shui coldly snorted. Although she was shocked in her heart, she was even more unwilling to accept this. She waved her hands, palms facing each other, after which she formed an unknown hand seal and shouted, "Suppress." Not good. Lin Jiang suddenly stood up and prepared to save Tang Ao, but he saw the great elder slightly shaking his head at him. But once the suppress word seal is used, the mountains and rivers will shatter. If we don't save him, Tang Ao will die. Lin Jiang slapped his thigh. Head elder stroked his beard and smiled. Don't worry. This Tang Ao must have a backup plan. Not to mention, he has the hidden jade body in stone. How can I watch him die? If I have no other choice, I will save him. Hearing this, Lin Jiang sighed in relief and sat back in his seat. But he was still on tenterhooks, afraid that something bad would happen to Tang Ao. The disciples below the stage were already panicking. They quickly distanced themselves from the stage where Yun Shui and Tang Ao were fighting. Chapter 116. Legend has it that a mighty figure once used a giant seal to destroy a star, but it was so long ago that no one knew if it was true or not. Yun Shuiyu opened her mouth and uttered the word Jun. The vermilion bird seal flew back and floated above Tang Ao. Buzz, buzz! Tang Ao turned to look at the source of the sound. The vermilion bird seal was growing bigger and bigger, and after a while, it completely covered the entire arena. Tang Ao held his breath and restrained his innate qi. Tiny black granules appeared on the surface of his skin. In his dantian, the hazy cloud suddenly rose and connected with the big acupuncture point on his back to form a chain of innate qi. Suppress. Yun Shui's voice fell, and a rumbling sound came from the sky. The vermilion bird seal slowly fell from the sky, and at the same time, a pressure poured down. Compared to the tsunami-like pressure from before, this pressure was 3 or 4 times stronger. It felt like the heavens were pressing down on him. Clang! After so many times of destruction, the arena finally couldn't bear it and collapsed. Tang Ao's body began to curl up, but he still stood there firmly. Beads of sweat dripped from his forehead, and the veins on his temples bulged as he fought against this pressure. Yin Shuiyu saw Tang Ao like this and couldn't bear it anymore. Tang Ao, just admit defeat. You can't take it. Unexpectedly, Tang Ao laughed loudly and still had a cynical look on his face. Senior Sister Yin, I, Tang Ao, am someone who wants to reach the celestial turbid realm. This little pressure is nothing to me. Come on, use your full strength. Madman. Lin Jiang stood up and pointed at Tang Ao and cursed. Tang Ao, do you think your life is too long? If not, then get down here right now. Otherwise, you might as well die up there. That's right, Senior Brother Tang. Winning or losing isn't decided in a moment. Your life is more important. In the distance, a disciple tried to persuade him. That's right, Senior Brother Tang. Where there's life, there's hope. Just admit defeat. Even the top 10 can enter the inner sect. Brother Shu, don't force yourself. His lackey also began to persuade him. Even Zhao Shui, who had been bullied by Tang Ao, had red eyes. She pointed at Tang Ao and said, Tang Ao, I haven't gotten my revenge yet. I won't allow you to die. Hurry up and come down. Tang Ao, just admit defeat. If you lose your life, you won't have any more chances. Yin Shui stopped making hand seals and tried to persuade him again. Tang Ao roared towards the sky. He raised his arm and pointed at Yin Shui. Less nonsense. Today, you and I must decide a victor. Yin Shui's face turned red, and she was a little angry. Since you don't know what's good for you, I'll fulfill your wish. Suppress. True essence violently fluctuated between his fingers, and his 2 palms flew up and down, once again forming the vermilion bird seal's Jun character. The vermilion bird seal, which had stopped in midair, pressed down once again. This time, its speed was 2 or 3 times faster than before. Some of the female disciples screamed and covered their eyes, not daring to look at Tang Ao's miserable state. Clang! The sound of metal colliding rang out. The rapidly descending vermilion bird seal suddenly stopped when it was 10 feet above the ground, unable to move any further. Tang Ao's explosive voice sounded out from underneath the vermilion bird seal. Immediately, the vermilion bird seal was slowly lifted up. He actually... How is this possible? Lin Zhang's old eyes widened in shock. His face was filled with shock. The great elder smiled knowingly. Let's continue watching. This boy is very stubborn. He won't lose so easily. I think he still has some cards up his sleeve that he hasn't used yet. Yin Shui coldly snorted. It's just a futile struggle. Rise. Yin Shui pointed his finger towards the sky, and the vermilion bird seal also flew towards the sky. Suppress. Yin Shui gave another order, and the arena-sized seal once again ruthlessly smashed towards Tang Ao's location. Tang Ao raised a spear and once again thrust it towards the vermilion bird seal. With a pung sound, the vermilion bird seal was once again blocked by Tang Ao. Yin Shui was unconvinced. She once again manipulated the giant vermilion bird seal to fiercely smash down towards Tang Ao. But this time, the blue stone floor beneath Tang Ao's feet could not withstand it. With a pu sound, both of Tang Ao's feet sank into the ground, but it was still blocked by Tang Ao. My heavens! Senior apprentice Brother Tang is so strong. No wonder he isn't panicking at all. But even if he is being suppressed like this, there is no way he can resist. That's true. As long as senior apprentice sister Yin Shui continues to suppress senior apprentice brother Tang, as long as he exhausts his true yuan, he will be able to win. Yin Shui had originally summoned the vermilion bird seal in order to quickly end the battle, but who would have thought that he would be in a stalemate with Tang Ao? How can this guy's mortal body be so strong? My vermilion bird seal can even crush a mountain. This is so infuriating. Yin Shui was exasperated. She controlled the vermilion bird seal to smash down a few more times, pinning Tang Ao's lower body into the ground. Senior apprentice Sister Yin, if this is all you have, then you should just admit defeat. Under the heavy pressure of the seal, Tang Ao actually mocked Yin Shui. Since you want to die so badly, then I will grant your wish. Yin Shui was exasperated. She summoned the Six Paths Pagoda and flew it above the vermilion bird seal. It grew to the same size as the vermilion bird seal and Six Paths Pagoda. I will let you have a taste of the Six Paths Pagoda and the vermilion bird seal. Six Paths Reincarnation, suppress. The Six Paths Pagoda and vermilion bird seal's pressure had reached a terrifying level of 2 heavens. Pu Tong, Tang Ao was pressed into the ground, and the seal finally came into contact with the ground. Not even a thin sword could pierce through it. Senior apprentice Brother Tang. What a pity. I was too reckless and ended up getting myself into trouble. That's right. After being suppressed by the Six Paths Pagoda and vermilion bird seal, you will either die or be severely injured. Everyone shook their heads and sighed. Originally, with Tang Ao's aptitude, even if he couldn't defeat Yin Shui for a while, he could still cultivate for a few more decades, and he might still be able to defeat Yin Shui. But now it was all over. Yin Shui also let out a breath of relief. After taking a deep breath, she sat down on the ground and prepared to rest for a while before leaving. Pung! A muffled sound came from the ground. The Six Paths Pagoda and vermilion bird seal shook slightly. Did I see it wrong? I saw the vermilion bird seal move. I didn't see it wrong. It really moved. Could it be Senior Martial Sister Yun's doing? No, Senior Martial Sister Yun is meditating. She doesn't have the energy to control the vermilion bird seal. Could it be? The only possibility shocked the crowd. The Six Paths Pagoda and vermilion bird seal are just SOSO. A burst of laughter came from the ground. Then, another loud sound was heard. The vermilion bird seal that covered the ground actually moved slightly. Yin Shui awoke from his meditation and stared in disbelief at the slit that had been opened. No, that's impossible. That's impossible. No one can move the vermilion bird seal. Yin Shui then formed another hand seal and spat out a mouthful of blood. The hand seal was stimulated by the smell of blood, and it shone brightly. Chapter 117. Bang! Another loud bang, and under everyone's shocked eyes, the vermilion bird seal and Six Paths Pagoda were sent flying away again. Yin Shui coughed out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground on his butt. His already pale face turned even paler because of the loss of blood. Tang Ao, who was wearing ragged clothes that were suppressed by the vermilion bird seal, slowly walked out of the pit with a rusty, ancient-looking axe on his shoulder. There was no trace of true essence fluctuations on the axe, nor was there any trace of auspicious light. Suppress. 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 I'll suppress your mother. Come, get up. Let's see if your Suzaku seal is stronger or if my world-dominating Axol is stronger. Tang Ao was a bit angry. He had just managed to come out to get some fresh air, but this girl thought he was going to come out again. She didn't hesitate to use her lifespan to suppress him onto the seal. Yin Shui took a deep breath and wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth. You are indeed very strong. I lost. Yin Shui said the last 3 words very slowly, as if he had been preparing for a long time, although he did not want to admit this fact. Tang Ao also let out a deep breath. His monstrous aura was extinguished. He collapsed on the ground and didn't want to move at all. Tang Ao is mighty. Long live Tang Ao. Wang Lin and a group of disciples cheered as they rushed onto the stage. They threw Tang Ao into the air to celebrate the victory of this matchless battle. Lin Jiang also let out a sigh of relief. Ah, I'm old and useless. I can't compare to the younger generation. He allowed a gratified smile and went to arrange a new stage. In the next few days, the duels continued. Although the disciples' duels were also very exciting, none of them could be compared to the duels between Tang Ao and Yin Shui. It could be said that since the establishment of the sect, the duels between the outer disciples had never been so exciting and shocking. It was estimated that it would be difficult to see such a scene again in the future. Tang Ao was carried back to the courtyard by everyone. His extreme exhaustion caused him to sleep for a day and a night. He only woke up the day after tomorrow, just in time for the last day. After the last match, all the disciples silently gathered at the martial lecture square, quietly listening to the great elder announce the rankings after the duel. First place, Tang Ao. Second place, Yin Shui. Third place, Guyu. The top 10 will enter the inner sect to cultivate. I hope that the disciples who are not in the top 10 will cultivate more and work hard. I hope that you will get a good result next year. This year's outer sect exam ends here. Since then, the title of number 1 in the outer sect had spread like wildfire throughout the sect. Yin Shui, who was number 1 in the outer sect, was ranked 17th in the inner sect. Tang Ao had defeated Yin Shui, so naturally, he had replaced Yin Shui in the ranking. In an instant, Tang Ao became famous. Hello, eldest senior brother. 2 disciples walked towards him and respectfully bowed to Tang Ao, causing Tang Ao to feel a little awkward. He could only do the same and return the bow. Being the eldest senior brother is quite troublesome. Old Lin said he wanted to find me, but I don't know what it is. I still have to care about the prize for the exam. Thinking of the prize, Tang Ao instantly became spirited. He almost sprinted to the elders' council. Old Lin, you're looking for me? Tang Ao excitedly walked in. When he saw Lin Jiang, his eyes lit up as if he had seen some treasure. Lin Jiang glared at him and said unhappily, since you've passed the outer sect exam, you're no longer an outer sect disciple. In a few days, go through the procedures and move to the inner sect. You're chasing me away just like that? Seeing that Lin Jiang wanted to chase him away, Tang Ao was immediately unhappy. No way, you promised me that you'll give me the prize when I get first place in the outer sect exam. Now that I haven't gotten the prize, you want to chase me away? That's not possible. Tang Ao looked like he was asking for a debt and started to act shamelessly. The few elders laughed out loud. Old Fifth Lin, let's see how you're going to clean up this mess. Ha. Lin Jiang's face was gloomy. After searching for a long time, he took out a yellowed book and handed it to Tang Ao. I don't have anything else to give you. I've already given you everything I can. Last time, I gave you the ice crystal sword and ancient spirit finger. I hope you practice it well. During the competition with Yin Shui, I saw that the axe you were holding at the end was very strange. Is that also your fate soul? Tang Ao nodded his head. That's right. That is the 15th level of fate soul that I awakened the day before the competition, the world-dominating axe spirit. It's just that I just awakened it and can't use it skillfully. Otherwise, I would have won long ago. The few elders knew the answer in their hearts, but when Tang Ao personally admitted it, they couldn't help but be shocked. Not mentioning the 9th level of body refinement and awakening 4 martial spirits, his rank was almost the same as a normal origin realm martial artist. I have a 9 Suns heaven-splitting axe here. It is a high-rank axe technique of the origin realm. When trained to the extreme, it can create 9 blazing suns and burn everything. Lin Jiang sighed, feeling a bit helpless. Go. Be careful when you go to the inner sect. The competition there is even more intense. I'll ask my good friend to take care of you. Tang Ao didn't know why, but his nose felt sour. Thinking back when he was in Bluestone City, it was Lin Jiang who didn't fear the Qin family's threat and brought Tang Ao back to the sect. Although he didn't put his heart and soul into training him, he always gave him the necessary help, which allowed Tang Ao to grow to such a stage. To Tang Ao, Lin Jiang was both a teacher and a friend. Without him, there would be no Tang Ao's path of cultivation. Tang Ao resisted the urge to cry and said with a smile, You're already in your 70s and 80s, yet you're still playing with emotions. Disgusting. Ha 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 ha. The few elders mercilessly laughed at him again. Fu Feng bitterly smiled and forcefully suppressed some of his sadness. He left without looking back. Lude, eldest senior brother. On the road, a soft and amiable voice called out. Tang Ao turned his head and saw that it was Zhao Shui. Junior sister Zhao, what's the matter? I didn't peek at you bathing. Tang Ao quickly explained. Pa, pervert. Who told you that? I mean that you're leaving, Zhao Shui blushed and bashful. Her voice became softer and softer. Tang Ao was an impatient person. Seeing Zhao Shui like this, his heart was itching. Tang Ao lowered his head and leaned closer. What exactly do you want to say? Say it. I mean that what? Tang Ao still couldn't hear clearly. He leaned closer and pressed his face against hers. Smack! Tang Ao felt a softness on his face. Suddenly, as if he was petrified, he stood rooted to the ground. Zhao Shui's delicate face was as red as a peach. She scolded him and ran away with her head down. Damn, I've been flirted with. After a long time, Tang Ao recovered from his daze. He packed his luggage and walked toward the inner mountain gate of Seven Kill Sect. Chapter 118. After that extremely intense and exciting battle, Tang Ao's concealed jade body in stone was activated. The hazy mass of air gradually had a silhouette, but it still did not take shape. On the other hand, Tang Ao's realm advanced once again. He had already reached the peak of the 9th level of the body, refining realm. The peak of the 9th level of the body, refining realm, but my strength has already reached 20,000 pounds. It's most likely because I'm cultivating the iron steel sand. Right now, I can fight against an origin realm martial artist. If I add the ancient god moving heavens technique and the world-dominating axe soul, I might even be able to kill an origin realm martial artist. In these few days, Tang Ao reevaluated his own strength. He faintly felt where the shackles that bound him were. Is this the seal from the body refining realm to the origin realm? When his own aura rose and his consciousness expanded, Tang Ao clearly felt a thin layer of substance that restricted his consciousness from growing any further. In the end, the advancement of cultivation was a martial artist borrowing the spiritual energy of the world to strengthen their body and break the shackles imposed on them by the world. They stimulated their potential and changed their fate, becoming omnipotent. The awakening of a life spirit was a martial artist using the spiritual energy to nourish their consciousness and stimulate their soul. After accumulating for a few more days, I'll prepare to break into the origin realm. Right now, I should start cultivating the 7-kill slaughtering art. Tang Ao made up his mind. He had to first cultivate the 7-kill slaughtering art well. Only then would he have more confidence. At that moment, Tang Ao closed his eyes and his consciousness roamed the boundless world. He directly stepped onto the 36th level of the heavens to search for his life spirit. The first few levels were like taking a stroll in his own courtyard. It was easy and relaxed. After stepping onto the 12th level of the heavens, the pressure on his consciousness multiplied. Breaking through the shackles of the world was originally a heaven-defying action. Therefore, the heavens would send down all sorts of obstructions, tempting the soul, torturing the consciousness, and urging people to give up. In his previous life, Tang Ao was a little demon lord. He had suffered a lot of torture. Some of the suffering and torture would make normal people tremble in fear just by looking at it, not to mention experiencing it personally. Arriving at the 15th level of the heavens, Tang Ao felt like he was carrying tens of mountains on his back. Fortunately, he was in the boundless world. If he was on the ground, Tang Ao would probably be pressed into the ground again. Flying Cloud, Xuanwu Shield, 10,000 miles Ice Soul Umbrella, White Brocade Black Crow Stone. Sigh. No. Tang Ao shook his head. He was not interested in these things. The 7 weapons in the art of 7 slaughtering art were all killing weapons. They were meant to be ferocious and decisive, unlike Yun Shui's 6 Paths Pagoda, which was just a shell that could be hit no matter what. Instead of being beaten like a coward, why not fight to my heart's content? Even if I die in battle, I can still earn the title of a warrior. This was what Tang Ao was thinking, and he did it all the time. That was why when he faced Yun Shui's vermilion bird seal, he bravely pressed forward and finally defeated Yun Shui, obtaining the title of #1 in the outer sect. No, I have to hurry. If this goes on, my soul will not be able to bear it. Tang Ao looked at his own cracked spiritual sense in surprise and accelerated his pace. Where is it? Where is it? Tang Ao searched everywhere and looked around. One after another, weapon elemental life spirits, nature elemental life spirits, and some law elemental life spirits whizzed past him, but none of them were the life spirits that Tang Ao was interested in. So, a sharp air-piercing sound suddenly rang in his ears. Tang Ao suddenly turned around and saw a golden arrow shooting at him. The arrowhead was triangular, and it didn't cause any airflow as it traveled in the air. The arrow shaft was flowing with dark red, tadpole-shaped patterns that were hard to understand. The arrow feather was blue and translucent, and when it flew through the air, tiny ice crystals formed. This is the sun shooting arrows, life soul. Tang Ao's surprise turned into ecstasy. It's you. Then he strode forward and formed claws with his hands, attracting the sun shooting arrow's life soul. Sun shooting arrow life spirit. Legend has it that in the ancient times, this arrow chased after the sun and then disappeared. I didn't expect it to become the boundless world's life spirit. Tang Ao was overjoyed, and his spiritual sense immediately returned to the inner sect courtyard. In the sky, a blazing fireball fell, and the friction between its surface and the atmosphere produced raging flames. Even the clouds in the sky were dyed red, as if they were being burned. Heaven and earth phenomenon. I wonder who awakened a life spirit above the 12th heaven. The intensity of the competition in the inner sect is worlds apart from the outer sect. If you don't work hard, you will soon be overtaken by your senior and junior brothers. Do you know the newcomer in the outer sect? I heard that his name is Tang Ao. He defeated Yun Shui and became the first in the outer sect. Now, he seems to be in the inner sect. I've seen that kid. He's not simple. Brother Gu Dao, you and I should hurry up and cultivate, lest the people behind us catch up. Xiao Gu Dao laughed loudly. Brother Fuyong is right. I'll take my leave now. It turned out that the other person was Fuyong, who had saved Tang Ao from Chu Wentian. Without him, there would be no Tang Ao's current results. Naturally, it was because he had let Tang Ao witness the power of the 7 slaughter art that he had made up his mind to collect 7 life spirits to cultivate the 7 slaughter art. After fusing with the sun shooting arrow soul, Tang Ao slowly opened his eyes. With a thought, the sun shooting arrow soul materialized and quietly floated in front of Tang Ao. Pop! A warm current spread from Tang Ao's chest and circulated throughout his body, making Tang Ao feel so comfortable that he almost cried out. Finally, it entered Tang Ao's sea of consciousness and turned into tens of thousands of small characters, which finally formed a cultivation technique. The first 3 vivid ancient seal characters were written in seal script. Heaven's Eye Art. After skimming through it, Tang Ao was overjoyed. It turned out to be a cultivation technique to cultivate one's vision. Together with the sun shooting arrow soul, it was truly powerful. The hexagram mirror actually understands me so well. I'll find a chance to study it in the future. The Heaven's Eye Art had a total of 6 realms. From ordinary objects to dust, then from dust to the universe. Tang Ao's interest was piqued, and he finished cultivating the 6 realms in one go. When he opened his eyes again, his pupils were filled with stars, as if there was a universe contained within them. Everywhere he looked, he could see everything, from the tree rings on the wooden chairs and tables to the pollen of the exotic flowers and herbs floating in the air. Everything appeared in his eyes. All of this would form a 3-dimensional image in his mind. Everything could be seen at a glance. One day and one night, time passed quickly. When Tang Ao opened his eyes again, it was noon the next day. Damn, As expected, when I'm in the mood to cultivate, I forget everything. Tang Ao smiled bitterly inside. I'm new here. I'll go talk to Fuyang and familiarize myself with the intersect situation. Otherwise, I'll accidentally barge into the female dormitory in the future. Chapter 119. Tang Ao immediately went out and found an elder to complete the entry procedures. Then, he went around to inquire about Fuyang's news. Senior brother, may I ask where senior brother Fuyang is now? Tang Ao stopped an inner disciple with a smile on his face and asked, Oh, senior brother Fuyang? He just came out of the martial skill pavilion and went right. I met him just now. If you hurry, you should still be able to make it. The inner disciple pointed in the direction that Fuyang left and introduced him to Tang Ao. Thank you. Before he could say anything more, Tang Ao hurriedly chased in that direction. Sure enough, a sturdy man was walking in front of him. His footsteps were unhurried. Sometimes he raised his head to look at the sky, and sometimes he gestured something with his hands. It seemed like he was practicing some martial arts moves. Senior brother Fuyang. Tang Ao quickly followed and tried to call out. Fuyang turned his head and saw Tang Ao. He smiled and said, So it's junior brother Tang Ao. You also came to the intersect? Yes, I passed the outer sect assessment and obtained the qualification to study in the intersect. I think it's all thanks to senior brother Fuyang for saving my life. Tang Ao bowed respectfully to Fuyang. Fuyang hurriedly supported him and said, We're all from the same sect. You don't have to be so polite. In the future, if you encounter any problems in the intersect, you can look for me. I'll help if I can. Fuyang was very friendly and kind. In the intersect, where the competition was fierce, there was still someone who took care of him like a big brother. This made Tang Ao feel very warm. The facilities in the intersect are similar to the outer sect. However, there's an additional place in the back mountain. The spiritual chi there was abundant, and it could also change the flow of time. If one encountered a bottleneck in one's cultivation realm, or if one wanted to practice a cultivation technique, one could go there. 10 hours of renting only costs 100 contribution points. Fuyang pointed at a mountain range in the distance that was faintly discernible in the clouds and explained in detail to Tang Ao. Inner disciples are usually busy with cultivation, so there won't be too many disputes. Of course, if you wanted to form a grudge with a disciple, or if you wanted to spar with a disciple, you could go to the Heaven's Mandate platform on that mountain. Once you went up there, your life would be in the hands of the heavens. Fighting is not allowed in the rest of the sect. Disciples who violate the rules will have their cultivation crippled and be expelled from the sect, or be killed on the spot. Kill him on the spot. Tang Ao was shocked, but after thinking about it carefully, it was not without reason. Every disciple who could enter the inner sect was an outstanding talent among the thousands of people in the outer sect. It would be a pity if they died for no reason. Seeing that Tang Ao's expression had returned to normal, Fuyang introduced him. Do you have a strength ranking in the outer sect? What's your rank? In front of a genius like Fuyang, Tang Ao didn't dare to be arrogant and said modestly, I do have one. I'm not that talented. I risked my life to get first place and squeezed into the inner sect. Fuyang was stunned and only reacted after a while. He laughed and said, So the person who defeated Yin Shui was you. Not bad. I knew you weren't normal back then. Thank you for your compliment, Senior Fu. But Yin Shui's strength is nothing in the inner sect. She isn't even in the top 100 of the Dragon and Phoenix leaderboard. Don't be arrogant and complacent when you defeated her. The inner sect is a place of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. There are many geniuses. You need to work harder. Fuyang raised his head and thought of something. He warned Tang Ao one by one. Senior Fu, what's the Dragon and Phoenix leaderboard? Hearing that leaderboard, Tang Ao was very curious. He guessed that it should be the strength ranking of the inner sect disciples. Inner sect disciples can only get into the Dragon and Tiger leaderboard after reaching the Origin Martial Realm and awakening more than 10 life spirits. Whether or not you can keep the leaderboard or climb up a few ranks will depend on your power. Then, since Senior Fu is so powerful, you must be in the top 10 of the Dragon and Phoenix leaderboard, right? After witnessing the might of Fu Yang's 7-kill massacre art, Tang Ao believed that Fu Yang had the strength to enter the top 10 of the Dragon and Phoenix rankings. However, Fu Yang's expression suddenly turned serious. He shook his head and sighed. I'm ranked 37. You don't know how scary the top 10 are. There are almost 100 life spirits and countless martial arts. The top 10 are all people who can fight against low-rank Sea of Souls realm warriors. The first one, Nangong Zi, had even killed a Sea of Souls realm warrior. What? Tang Ao was shocked, his eyes twitching. 100 life spirits killing a Sea of Souls realm warrior. How? How is this possible? You also think it is unbelievable, right? But this is the truth. Perhaps they're the real geniuses, the chosen ones. But they're either busy training or exploring the ancient ruins. So it is almost impossible to see them in the inner gate. If one of them had gone to save you, Chu Wentian would not even have the chance to speak. So you still have to keep working hard. You can't relax for even a second. Hearing this, Tang Ao felt a chill down his spine. He immediately made up his mind that he would continue to cultivate to be like them. There's another thing about the inner gate, which is the elimination system. If your cultivation does not improve within a year, or if your contribution does not reach 5,000 points, you will be kicked out of the inner gate. You'll have to train again from the outer gate. If you do this 3 times, you'll be kicked out of the 7-kill martial school. Fuyang looked serious as he told Tang Ao about this serious matter, just in case Tang Ao made a big mistake in the future. Yes, I will remember it. Tang Ao remembered all these words in his heart. The inner sect is roughly like this. Here's a map with the geographical locations clearly marked. I'll show you around. Fuyang handed a leather map to Tang Ao. He was worried about leaving him alone, so he brought Tang Ao to visit some of the important places in the inner gate. Hello, Senior Brother Fu. Hello. Hello, Senior Brother Fu. Hello. On the way, they met many young disciples. When they saw Fuyang, they would greet him no matter how busy they were. He was respected and admired by the other disciples. Tang Ao could see that Fuyang was generous, friendly, and willing to help others. Secondly, it was because Fuyang's strength was extraordinary. After that, Tang Ao followed Fuyang around for a while before returning to the manor. Today's walk made Tang Ao feel pressured. This was also because of the atmosphere in the inner gate. There was a sense of urgency that forced him to constantly improve his strength. I'm afraid it will be difficult to break through the shackles of heaven and earth in a short period of time. Why not go to the back mountain and try? Making a decision, Tang Ao brought some simple rations and walked to the back mountain. Along the way, more and more disciples gathered. With the back mountain as the center, paths spread out in all directions like a spider's web. Chapter 120. After lining up for a while, Tang Ao ascended the back mountain and started looking for a cave to cultivate in. The back of the mountain was huge. It was unknown which skilled craftsman excavated on the spot, but according to the structure and topography of the huge mountain, caves were dug out from the cliff, and through the blessing of a simple spirit gathering array and a time array, it was for the disciples to cultivate. Tang Ao walked on the plank road and carefully searched, afraid that he would miss something and let someone else take advantage of it. If there were people in the caves, the doors would automatically close, and at the same time, the defensive mechanism would be activated to protect the safety of the people inside. If there was no one, the doors would be opened wide, and the spirit-filled chi would be released. There's no one here. My luck is really good. Tang Ao felt quite lucky that there was a cave the moment he ascended the mountain. Wait, I'll let you in. If you're smart, give it to me. A rude and unreasonable voice floated over from beside him. Tang Ao's expression instantly changed. He turned around and noticed 3 people standing in the distance, glaring at the cave beside him. A skinny young man pointed at Tang Ao and shouted, "Brat, our boss has taken a fancy to that cave of yours. If you're smart, scram." Tang Ao was slightly angry. The boss, the skinny young man, spoke of should be the tall, sturdy, and fierce-looking man in front of him. This shout instantly attracted many disciples who were waiting outside. They pointed at Tang Ao and the others and discussed animatedly. Why is this guy so unlucky to provoke Duan Batian? Look at this unfamiliar face. He should be a newcomer in the outer court. No wonder he's being bullied. Duan Batian is only a martial artist at the 3rd level of the origin martial realm. However, the one standing behind him is senior brother Xiao Gudao. He's in existence ranked 40th on the Dragon and Phoenix leaderboard. Tang Ao squinted his eyes. He carefully listened to the discussions of the spectators while sizing up Duan Batian in front of him and thinking of a countermeasure. 2nd level of the origin martial realm. 2 yuan strength is equivalent to 40,000 gene of strength. I'm only 20,000 gene now. Fighting with him is no different from throwing an egg against a rock. Let's avoid him for now. After a while, Tang Ao squeezed out a smile. I didn't know that Brother Duan would grace me with your presence. Since Brother Duan has taken a fancy to this cave, I will naturally offer it to you. Duan Batian was so pleased with himself that he looked at Tang Ao in disdain. Yes, not bad. Tang Ao smiled apologetically and slowly left this floor to search for other caves. You dare to be arrogant in front of me when you're only at the 2nd celestial layer? Just you wait. Sooner or later, I will step on you. Tang Ao secretly swore to himself. His fists were clenched so tightly that crackling sounds could be heard. He vowed to take revenge. Tang Ao spent a lot of time and finally found a cave at the top of the 2nd floor. Without saying anything, he went in. As soon as he stepped into the cave, Tang Ao was surrounded by dense spiritual energy. He closed the door and prepared to break through the shackles. Buzz, buzz. Due to the effect of the invisible jade in stone body, Tang Ao almost extracted all the spiritual energy in this cave. It even caused a turbulent flow of spiritual energy. Miraculously, after a few breaths, the spiritual energy in the cave became abundant and dense again. After knowing this situation, Tang Ao absorbed even more unscrupulously. He extracted the spiritual energy in the cave like a madman. After a while, Tang Ao felt that his meridians were filled with surging spiritual energy. Only then did he stop. He guided his divine sense and prepared to break through. His divine sense was like an inflated balloon, growing bigger and bigger. Its speed was more than twice as fast as when he tried to break through the shackles. Whoosh whoosh. I've arrived. After reaching a certain limit, Tang Ao clearly felt a layer of thin film restricting the growth of his divine sense. Break! Inside the cave, Tang Ao suddenly shouted. His aura climbed to another peak. His divine sense pushed against the layer of thin film and continued to rise, causing the thin film to become deformed. Tang Ao's face gradually paled. His divine sense was pressured, and his brain felt like it was being pierced by thousands of needles. The pain was unbearable. What? Is breaking through a realm so painful? Tang Ao wiped away the cold sweat on his forehead and found joy in the pain. Pop! Finally, Tang Ao broke through the shackles and reached the origin realm. After successfully breaking through, Tang Ao immediately laid down on the ground in exhaustion to recover the energy he used. Is this the origin realm? Tang Ao tried to clench his fist and felt that between his fingers there was a monstrous power. Occasionally, there would be tiny yellow lightning crackling, and his eyes seemed to be shooting out light. After entering the origin realm, I can cultivate the 2nd level of the ancient god moving the heavens great technique, transferring life. Without saying much, Tang Ao crazily started cultivating. Immediately, the 365 major acupuncture points on his body emitted bursts of light, especially the major acupuncture point on his back. The light was especially dazzling. However, when Tang Ao stepped into the 2nd level and transferred his life force, the light from the major acupuncture point on his chest went from weak to strong, and it emitted a dazzling light. Next, it was the Baihui above his head, the gushing spring under his feet. 2 palms, 2 arms, 2 legs. Thus, a heaven-moving meridian diagram was formed with the brain controlling the 4 limbs through the awakened major acupuncture points. It resonated with the hazy lump of matter in his dantian that gradually became clear, and they were connected. So that's how it is. Once the heaven-moving meridian diagram is formed, I can explode with at least 3 times my original strength. In addition to the hidden jade body in stone's resonance, I can even explode with 4 times my original strength. Tang Ao was quite confident that the current him could completely crush Duan Tianba. There was still more than 2 hours left. Tang Ao did not waste any time and went through the other cultivation methods once again. Only then did he reluctantly leave the room. There was a slot at the door. That was where the crystal card was activated. Tang Ao inserted the crystal card and deducted the corresponding number. Only then did the door open. Walking down the back mountain, Tang Ao walked toward the martial skill pavilion. He had already mastered some of his cultivation methods and needed to pick a few high-level martial skills to study. Sigh, let's go take a look. The hunting meet is about to start again. Hurry up. We won't even be able to touch the notice board. Hunting meet? What's that? Tang Ao was curious, even suppressing his interest in going to the martial skill pavilion. After a few steps, he arrived at the martial lecture plaza. Compared to the outer sect, this martial lecture hall was bigger and more luxurious. At this time, there was already a sea of people. At the same time, there were disciples rushing over from all directions. Disciples, the inner sect will hold the hunting meet in 7 days. At that time, disciples will go to the primeval forest. Whoever brings back the most beast goods will be the winner. At that time, the top 3 will be rewarded. The elder who put up the notice gave a general introduction to the inner sect disciples. Sigh, if there are no accidents, it will be senior brother Xiao Gudao who wins again. There's no other way. He is the only one on the Dragon and Phoenix rankings. It would be hard for him not to win. Chapter 121. It's Xiao Gudao again. Xiao Gudao is behind Duan Batian. The champion of last year's hunting meet was also Xiao Gudao. Tang Ao immediately took note of this person. Rumble. Tang Ao's stomach rumbled at an untimely time. He shook his head with a bitter smile and went to the inner sect's fire cuisine house. Because the daily cultivation of the disciples consumed a lot of energy, the inner court prepared a lot of ingredients for the disciples and nurtured top-notch chefs. Not only did the dishes taste delicious, but they also preserved the spirit energy in the ingredients to the greatest extent, providing the disciples with rich nutrition. What was even rarer was that the decorations of the fire cuisine house were extremely extravagant. There was the harmonious stream of flowing goblets, a small bridge, a desert smoke signal, a foreign style, and a different tribe's decoration. In short, the disciples who ate here would feel the greatest satisfaction in their tongues and souls. Tang Ao sat at a place near a small bridge and placed a dish on the water. Not long after, a koi fish swam over with a lotus flower in its mouth. On the lotus flower, Tang Ao's dish was exactly what he had ordered. Oh, it's so high class. Eating here is such a pleasure. Tang Ao narrowed his eyes in satisfaction as he listened to the sound of the river flowing under the bridge. Swish! A large hand scooped up Tang Ao's food and shouted at Tang Ao, "Hey, kid, senior brother Duan has his eyes on your position. If you know what's good for you, scram." Tang Ao's face darkened when he heard this. He said indifferently, "I don't care which senior brother Duan it is, or who is backing him up. Return my food before I get angry. Otherwise, you'll have to bear the consequences." The skinny young man laughed coldly when he heard this. Bear the consequences? What arrogance! You're just a first heaven stage cultivator. How dare you act so arrogantly in front of us? You should know the consequences of fighting in private. Do you dare to walk on the heavens' fate platform? Life and death are determined by fate. Riches and honor are determined by the heavens. How about it? Tang Ao looked at the scenery in front of him and said casually, Duan Tianba chuckled, his eyes looking at Tang Ao like a cat playing with a mouse. Brat, if you take back your words and kowtow 3 times in front of me, I'll spare your life. Otherwise, he said, cracking his knuckles, I'll also give you a word of advice. If you slap yourself 10 times, I can consider sparing your dog life. Otherwise, I'll make sure you'll be Xiao Gudao's lackey for the rest of your life. Tang Ao wasn't afraid in the slightest. All right, good. Let's meet on the Destiny platform. After Duan Batian finished speaking, he took the lead and walked out. Tang Ao followed closely behind him. Isn't that the young man from yesterday? Why are you being entangled by Duan Tianba again? Duan Tianba only bullies the weak and fears the strong. He probably saw how weak he was yesterday, so he wants to teach him a lesson today. Where are they going? Look at the direction. It seems like they're going to the back of the mountain. Back of the mountain? Could it be the Destiny platform? Let's go and take a look. After arriving at the back of the mountain, the elder led them through a simple ceremony, and both parties signed the life and death contract. If one party knocks out the other party or causes the other party to be injured or killed, the party who dies will not pursue the responsibility of the other party. Please agree and sign. Tang Ao did not say anything. He touched the ink pad and slapped it on the life and death contract. Duan Batian was not afraid. He slapped the ink pad on the life and death contract as well. Begin, the elder ordered. With a thought, Duan Batian summoned 6 weapon-type life souls. The lowest was at the 4th heaven, and the highest was at the 12th heaven. He sped up and charged toward Tang Ao. However, Tang Ao was not afraid at all. He slowly took out the plank with the sole of his shoe. The spectators were stunned. What's he doing? Is he stupid? Does he think he can defeat a 3rd heaven martial artist with the sole of his shoe? He doesn't know his place. He's courting death after offending Duan Batian. Sigh, how can there be such a stupid person? Don't use your life soul. Use the sole of your shoe. Duan Batian roared. Die, kid. The 6 life souls attacked at the same time. There was no way to dodge or hide. Tang Ao's lips curled into a cold smile. He activated the iron steel sand mental cultivation method. His arm was covered in black particles. At the same time, the sky-moving meridian diagram was activated in his body. Coupled with the resonance between the concealed jade and stone and the meridian diagram, his combat power was quadrupled. Pa! The crowd heard a crisp sound. Duan Baishan's sturdy figure flew backward, and his 6 life souls dissipated. Is this real? How is this possible? There's at least a difference of 2 heaven strength. The spectators were dumbfounded. Tang Ao had completely overturned their understanding of the past. It was still possible to challenge someone below the body refining realm. After all, the difference between the two was not big. However, after reaching the origin martial realm, every increase in the realm was accompanied by a sharp increase in strength. The difference between each heaven and earth was like the difference between heaven and earth. Now, Tang Ao, with his cultivation level at the 1st heaven, was able to beat Duan Batian, who was at the 3rd heaven, until he could not find his bearings. It was unbelievable. Duan Batian covered his face and stood up. He condensed his life soul again and attacked Tang Ao. Pa! Pa! Another 2 slaps landed on Duan Baishan's face. In an instant, Duan Baishan's face was swollen like a pig's head. Tang Ao walked over and placed his bare feet on Duan Baishan's face, stomping hard. Didn't you say you want me to kneel? Didn't you rob my cave? As he spoke, he stomped on Duan Batian, creating a small pit in the ground below him. Apologize to me. Otherwise, I'll beat you so hard that even your mother won't recognize you. No. Duan Batian squeezed out 2 words with his swollen mouth. He looked like he would rather die than submit. No, no, no apology. You're such a bad person. Tang Ao scolded Duan Batian rhythmically as he hit Duan Batian. When the audience heard this, they were speechless and helpless. How can there be such a hooligan fighting style? What a hooligan! But I like it. It's so satisfying. Excuse me, please excuse me. Xiao Gudao squeezed through the crowd and shouted at Tang Ao. Junior brother Tang, can you spare his life for the sake of me? Xiao Gudao? I didn't discipline him well. If I've offended you in any way, please be magnanimous and let Duan Batian go, junior brother Tang. Xiao Gudao was very good with words. There was not a hint of threat in his words. At the same time, he praised Tang Ao's magnanimity. After hitting Duan Batian for a long time, Tang Ao's anger subsided. He put on his shoes and said to Xiao Gudao, "Since senior brother Xiao has come personally, I have to give you face. You can take him away." "Thank you." After Xiao Gudao expressed his gratitude, he called two of Duan Baishan's subordinates to carry him back. This Xiao Gudao is ranked 40th on the Dragon and Phoenix leaderboard. It's not worth it to fall out with him now. The only way is to endure and raise my cultivation base. Looking at the setting sun in the distance, Tang Ao clapped his hands and returned to the courtyard to rest. Chapter 122. Immediately, Xiao Gudao brought the swollen Duan Batian back to the courtyard and applied some medicine on him. Duan Baishan's resentment was hard to calm. He had always been the one bullying others, but he never would have thought that today he would be defeated by a disciple at the first level of the Origin martial realm. What made him even more upset was that Xiao Gudao did not come out to teach him a lesson. "Senior brother Xiao, this outer disciple is really too arrogant. You have to help us junior brothers vent our anger." Xiao Gudao said calmly, "No, this kid is valued and protected by Fuyang. I came to save you today because of Fuyang's information. So, don't do anything to him for now. Bear with it. Are we just going to let it go?" Duan Batian asked unwillingly. Xiao Gudao pondered for a while. "There's an opportunity right now. All disciples are required to participate in the sect hunting meet in 7 days. Follow him closely and wait for him to enter the depths of the primeval forest. As for what to do, it's up to you." Duan Batian sneered and thought to himself, "I'll show you when the time comes. I'll make you regret it. The important thing is the inner court assessment in 3 months. By then, the inner court's ranking will be refreshed. You have to focus on your cultivation. Only strength can bring respect to the weak. Don't bully the weak and fear the strong." "Yes, senior brother." Early the next morning, a large group of disciples gathered at the inner court's lecture field. Some of them meditated and did not want to waste any time on cultivation. Some of them whispered to each other, discussing where to find better prey. Tang Ao secretly sized up this group of elite inner court disciples from afar. Some of them had a high cultivation base and were reserved. Some of them were arrogant and generous. Some of them were silent and immersed in their cultivation. It could be said that those who had a distinct personality had extraordinary cultivation bases. Suddenly, the scene in front of Tang Ao darkened. 3 figures blocked the light. Upon closer inspection, it was Duan Batian and the other 2. Tang Ao sneered and raised his eyebrows. "What? Are the injuries on your face healed? You missed my shoeboard so soon?" Duan Baishan's face darkened the moment he mentioned the shoeboard. This matter had become a scar in Duan Baishan's life, and he was often ridiculed for it. Sooner or later, I'll settle this debt with you." Finished speaking, he fiercely glared at Tang Ao before leaving with his head held high. This guy is so brainless. How did Xiao Gudao raise him? Tang Ao shook his head in disdain. Although Tang Ao didn't like small characters, they kept provoking him like flies. It was disgusting. Disciples. This hunt was held within 3 days. The winner would be the one with the highest total hunting price. The top 3 will be rewarded handsomely. I hope that all the disciples will work hard and obtain good results. Let's go. A deep and powerful voice reverberated through the entire area. Tang Ao looked over and saw that it was the great elder from the outer sanctum assessment. So it's an inner court elder. No wonder. Tang Ao glanced at the great elder who was hovering in the air. He noticed that the great elder was also looking at him. The great elder was smiling and nodding. Tang Ao was stunned for a moment. He took out the tiger bone jiao bao that he exchanged with contribution points and leaped towards the direction of the primeval forest. Although it was called a hunt, it was actually a small-scale inner court examination. The rules were similar to the hunting competition that Tang Ao held in Waterbead City. The tiger bow and Jiao Bao had a strength of 10,000 gene. Coupled with my son shooting arrow spirit and heaven's eye technique, I'll definitely have a bountiful harvest. Tang Ao compared himself with the other disciples in his heart. He was only a bit lacking in cultivation. However, he was equivalent to a normal martial artist at the 4th level of the origin martial realm. If he was careful, he would still be able to explore the inner parts of the primeval forest. Tang Ao was well aware of the dangers in the depths of the primeval forest. If it wasn't for his good luck last time, he would have already become the meal of that golden python. A few hundred disciples activated their martial arts and secret techniques and rushed into the primeval forest like 10,000 horses galloping. Voila! The earth-shattering sound startled the birds at the outskirts of the forest. The dense mass of birds covered the sky and turned the bright sky into a dusk-like darkness. The disciples were unmoved. They sped up and entered the forest. In the primeval forest, trees as tall as the clouds could be found everywhere. The luxuriant leaves and tree trunks overlapped each other. The sunlight would at most leave behind some broken shadows. Looking up at the sky, there was only a lush green expanse. The deeper they went into the forest, the darker the light became. Some disciples with low cultivation had to take out their treasures to guide the way. Tang Ao activated the Heaven's Eye technique. Everything within a 50-meter radius became a 3D image and appeared in his mind. Before, Tang Ao had to use the ancient god moving the heavens great technique and condensed chi in his eyes to see. A mournful scream came from behind. A disciple was foaming at the mouth. His body twitched and fell to the ground. 2 small holes with black blood flowing out from his neck announced his death. After a few moments, the disciple stopped breathing. His body rotted and turned into liquid at a speed visible to the naked eye. A few disciples nearby were shocked. They sped up, afraid that they would end up like him if they were too slow. Soul-destroying red-chain snake. How unlucky. How pitiful. Even his soul will be destroyed. If he is bitten, he will definitely die. The disciples discussed and slowed down. They began to be more cautious. The cultivation of the birds and beasts in the outskirts of the primeval forest were not high. Therefore, there was a rich variety of animals. There were many poisonous insects and fierce snakes. If one was accidentally bitten, they would die unless they abandoned the rook to save the king. Hiss! Tang Ao chopped a 5-step bright-colored snake that wanted to sneak up on him into 3 pieces. He took out the snake's gallbladder and put it in a jade bottle. Unexpectedly, the bright-colored snake was not completely dead. Its head jumped up and bit at Tang Ao again. Tang Ao kicked the snake's head. With 5,000 gene of strength, the snake's head exploded. He put away the jade bottle and continued to move forward. When cutting weeds, one must eliminate the roots. If one was soft-hearted, it would bring about a great disaster. This was the survival rule that Tang Ao had concluded after entering the forest several times. In order to make it easier to escape, Tang Ao deliberately brought the space-piercing snake. Ever since the space-piercing snake followed him, it was either eating or sleeping. Its body had become fatter. Little Sky, where do you think we should go? Tang Ao had a thought and started to communicate with the space-piercing snake's divine sense. You asked the right person, kid. With this immortal's keen sense of smell, I will know where the treasure is. The space-piercing snake said proudly. Then where should we go? In the northwest direction. There's a small hill there. There are many treasures hidden there. If you hunt along the way, you will have a lot of harvest. Chapter 123. Someone saw Tang Ao leave the group alone. Only when everyone is together will there be a chance of survival. If he goes alone, he will be seeking his own death. Sigh, what a pity. Geniuses are all conceited. Forget it, let's go our own way. With Tang Ao's departure, a few powerful disciples also left the group and rushed towards the direction they had set out for. Although it was safer to follow the group, there were too many people and the aura was too strong. The strange beasts were also very vigilant, so it was not easy to hunt. Whoosh! Tang Ao gradually left the group. Suddenly, the grass beside him rustled, and there was a faint stench. Be careful, it's a tiger-type, strange beast. The sky-piercing snake suddenly straightened its body and stuck out its scarlet tongue. It vigilantly stared at the low bushes on both sides that were taller than Tang Ao. Tang Ao remained silent. With a thought, the 100 Battles spear's soul condensed above his head. It didn't reveal any light, and other than its shape, it was no different from an ordinary spear. Roar! Suddenly, a tiger roared, and a huge tiger that was 3 to 4 meters tall jumped out. Its 2 claws shone with a cold light as it pounced towards Tang Ao. Buzz! The 100 Battles spear soul suddenly activated, and the surrounding spiritual energy surged like a tide. A bloody aura that was even thicker than that of the fierce tiger spread out, scaring the birds in the sky away. It's an iron claw mountain-breaking tiger. Be careful of its iron claws. Shao Kong told Tang Ao about the characteristics of the mountain-breaking tiger and asked him to be on guard. Tang Ao used the Azure Dragon Nether Shadow Spear art. With a shake of the spear, 8 spear shadows appeared. Then, he twisted his waist and drove the spear towards the lower jaw of the mountain-breaking tiger. Bang! Tang Ao only used 50% of his strength in this spear attack, which was nearly 10,000 gene of strength. The mountain-breaking tiger actually blocked it with its claws, but its huge body was sent flying by the huge force. A mouthful of blood flowed out from its mouth. After being shaken by the spear, the mountain-breaking tiger immediately lost its vigor. It lowered its head and ran away with its tail between its legs. Want to run? Have you asked my spear? Tang Ao abruptly stomped on the ground and used the momentum to leap up. He raised his 100 Battle spear soul horizontally and slashed down from the sky. Pooh! The mountain breaker tiger's skull was smashed into smithereens on the spot. Brain juice splattered everywhere, and its limbs twitched uncontrollably as its blood flowed all over the ground. This pair of iron claws could actually block my 5,000 kilograms of force. If this mountain breaker tiger's cultivation base was any higher, I would have been the one sent flying. Tang Ao broke the mountain-breaking tiger's iron claws and dug out its demon core before putting the carcass back into his storage ring. Although this mountain breaker tiger's cultivation base is low, only at the 7th layer of body tempering realm, its flesh and bones are still good stuff. They can strengthen one's body and bones. After tidying up the place for a while, Shao Kong continued guiding Tang Ao in the northwest direction. What's on that hill in the northwest? None of the exotic beasts along the way were weak. Tang Ao muttered to himself as he stabbed another body-tempering realm 8th layer blood, red, astral windwolf, to death with a single strike of his spear. He retrieved the demon core and stored the carcass. Because of the treasure, this path has attracted many exotic beasts. But because that hill has been occupied by an even stronger exotic beast, this group of exotic beasts has been circling around the hill. Shao Kong crawled out from Tang Ao's sleeves and surveyed the surroundings. Along the way, the exotic beast cultivation bases have been continuously increasing. You have to be prepared. Don't need me to save you when the time comes. Shao Kong swam around in front of Tang Ao, proudly raising its silver-gray snake head. Tang Ao rolled his eyes at it and continued to scout ahead. What a joke. It's not your turn to save me. We're not far from that hill. Hurry up. Along the way, Tang Ao stepped over dozens of inches of rotten leaves and killed a few exotic beasts with all his might. Gradually, he could see the hill that Shao Kong was talking about. Although it was called a hill, it was only a small mountain. It was separated from the main mountain range, and in the middle, there was an unfathomably deep canyon. It's in that canyon. I can feel that the spiritual energy there is abnormally abundant. There must be rare treasures there. Shao Kong excitedly waved his snake body and pointed at the nearby canyon. Then there must be a very strong exotic beast guarding it. Tang Ao crossed his hands and speechlessly looked at the excited Shao Kong in front of him. On the way, the cultivation of the exotic beasts they met got higher and higher. The last one that Tang Ao dealt with already had the cultivation of the peak of the 9th layer of the body-tempering realm. It was only half a step away from the origin realm. At that time, it would be the most troublesome. Think about it. Even the cultivation of the 9th layer of the body-tempering realm only lingered in the outskirts. How strong was the guardian divine beast in the canyon? It was at least in the origin realm. I only cared about the treasure and forgot about this. Don't worry. If we really meet any danger with my abilities, I will definitely save you. Shao Kong shook his tail and took on the task of saving his life. Tang Ao suddenly sensed something. He grabbed Shao Kong and hid it in his bosom. He jumped onto a tall tree at the side, concealed his own aura, and watched every movement in the canyon. Roar, roar. A giant lizard with a crimson body and a tail that emitted blue flames crawled out of the canyon. Its entire body was covered in black scales, and its long tongue was sticking out into the air from time to time, gathering auras from all directions. I'm rich. Ha ha ha. I'm rich now. Shao Kong excitedly twisted in Tang Ao's bosom again. This is a flame dragon lizard. It has a thin dragon bloodline in its body, so it can naturally control fire elements. More importantly, where there is a flame dragon lizard, there will definitely be earthly flame flint. This is an excellent material for crafting. 1 gene of earthly flame flint is worth 100,000 gold. Wherever this flame dragon lizard goes, the vitality of all living things revolves around its body. There's already a blue flame core in the flames at its tail. This is at least a flame dragon lizard at the first level of the origin martial realm. Tang Ao looked at the beast crawling out in shock. He calmed down and pondered for a while. Compared to humans, beasts were stronger in terms of their physical defense and the power produced by their own talent. Beasts in the same realm would have a strength of at least 8,000 gene or even 10,000 gene higher than normal people. Normal people would either die or be injured. Tang Ao quietly climbed down from the tree and went behind a huge rock like a ghost. He poked his head out and observed the flame dragon lizard's every move. Roar, roar. The flame dragon lizard raised its huge head and roared at the sky. The sound wave quickly spread and destroyed everything in its path. Sand and stones flew everywhere. The trees within a radius of more than 100 feet were uprooted and fell outwards, startling a flock of birds. If not for the huge rock blocking him, Tang Ao would have been blown away by the sound wave. Oof, bastard! Tang Ao shouted and raised his spear. He aimed at the flame dragon lizard's eyes and suddenly attacked. At the same time, the sky-moving meridian diagram lit up in his body and communicated with his dantian. Tang Ao's strength rose again. Chapter 124. The flame spirit dragon lizard had a pair of sharp eyes. It swept its thick tail over, stirring up a stinking and scorching wind. The blue heart flame on its tail soared 10 feet high, and the scorching heat scorched the ground around it. Boom! The two spears collided with each other, and both of them were forced to retreat. Tang Ao's hands that were holding the spear were sore and numb. On the other hand, the flame on the flame spirit dragon lizard's tail weakened a little bit. Roar! The flame spirit dragon lizard gathered its power again. It opened its bloody mouth, dripping sticky saliva. Its four limbs exerted strength rapidly, dashing toward Tang Ao. At this moment, Tang Ao was calm. He didn't care about the beast in front of him. It was just a small character. Tang Ao raised his long spear horizontally and threw out 8 spear lights. He urged the dark dragon shadow spear, and a dark red dragon gradually formed, circling the spearhead. For the time being, the dragon roared. Boom! 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 The 100 battles spear soul collided with the dragon lizard's giant tail. The spear tip rubbed against the hard scales, creating sparks. The spear tip with the blood-red dragon couldn't even leave a mark on the scales. So naughty. I don't believe it. Right after that, Tang Ao's spear attacks became faster and more powerful. Every time the spear tip touched the dragon lizard's tail, which was as thick as a tree trunk, swept over and sent the 100-battle spear soul away. Even the dragon on the spearhead got dizzy. No, this beast's armor is too hard. I can't hurt it completely. That's the only way. Right then, Tang Ao's mind flickered, and he released the green lotus sword soul. The 3 undying sword souls grew from the pistols. As the ice crystal sword was running, the swords emitted white gas after the ice crystals were sublimated. As soon as the green lotus sword soul appeared, Tang Ao's pressure was reduced. The 100-battle spear soul attacked the dragon lizard's tail. The pure power collided with the dragon lizard's tail, which shattered the rocks around. The green lotus sword soul attacked the dragon lizard's head. Each time the 3 undying sword souls attacked the dragon lizard, it didn't leave any mark on the dragon lizard's armor. Only some ice crystals were left. When they were about to condense to control the dragon lizard, they were melted by the scorching heat. Huh, are you begging me? I'll help you if you beg me. Shao Kong, who was lying in Tang Ao's embrace, couldn't help but put on airs when he saw Tang Ao fighting so hard. Humph, do you think I don't know how to deal with animals? I'm just sharpening my spear skills. Tang Ao completely ignored little Kong. My spear realm is already not far from the large success spear realm. Right now, I'm on the verge of breaking through. Humph, this kind of beast's outer skin is hard, so its lower abdomen must be its weak spot. Once I'm more or less sharpened, I'll finish it off with a spear. And you little worm, you actually dare to raise the price at this time. Just wait for me to go back and deduct your food. Tang Ao was not in a good mood, and the strength of his hand increased by a few degrees. AI, this immortal was wrong, okay? Don't deduct my food. Those things are very delicious. Shao Kong actually twisted his snake body and acted coquettishly. Then if you become my pet, I'll guarantee that you'll have good food and drinks every day. Tang Ao saw Shao Kong begging and took the opportunity to extort a sum of money from him. Then you have to guarantee that you'll provide me with good food and drinks every day. Otherwise, I'll turn your manor upside down and make you unable to sleep in peace. Shao Kong threatened. Don't worry. Tang Ao, guarantee that if I mistreat you in the slightest, I'll fail all the sect examinations in the future. After Shao Kong received Tang Ao's guarantee, he immediately spat out a glistening white pearl and floated in front of Tang Ao. This is my demon core. Master only needs to drip a drop of blood essence on it, and the master servant contract will be signed. Tang Ao swept away the lizard tail with his spear and took the opportunity to quickly squeeze out a drop of blood essence and drip it on Shao Kong's inner core. Pop! The spiritual energy on the inner core trembled slightly, announcing the establishment of the contract. You're a female? What the F *CK? Tang Ao scanned through the information about Shao Kong in his mind and was surprised. He was almost hit by the lizard tail. He swung his spear to block it, but the huge lizard tail swept over again. What female? You should call me a girl. Shao Kong lowered his snake head and shyly twisted his snake body. Tang Ao was speechless. He calmed himself down and fought with the dragon lizard again. Roar! After fighting for a long time, the flame dragon lizard realized that it couldn't do anything to Tang Ao. It was extremely angry. A ball of fiery red light gradually lit up its abdomen and flooded its leather armor from inside out. Suddenly, the dragon lizard's leather armor turned red, as if it had been roasted by charcoal for a long time. 2 sharp horn-like substances bulged on the top of the lizard's head. After wriggling for a while, they turned into a pair of antlers. Master, be careful. He's already transformed into a dragon. Shao Kong warned Tang Ao. The snake's instinct made it stand up and open its mouth to show its sharp fangs as a warning. My spear training is almost done. I'll show you what I can do. As soon as he finished, the air above Tang Ao's head fluctuated. Swish, 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 swish. For weapon life, souls emitted different lights, quietly floating above Tang Ao's head. They became real. Swish. The aura of the 4 life souls was released at the same time. With Tang Ao as the center, a fierce spiritual energy gust rose, carrying the dust on the ground. Even the thick tree trunks that had been broken by the dragon lizard were blown away. Have fun! Tang Ao picked up the sky-dominating axe and leaped into the air. Using the downward force, he slashed at the dragon lizard's head. The dragon lizard didn't want to be outdone. Its throat emitted a scorching light. Puff, 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 puff. Fireballs shot at Tang Ao. Using the broad axe to knock away the fireball closest to him, Tang Ao's figure disappeared. When he reappeared, he was close to the dragon lizard. Slash! The murderous voice burst out. The sky-dominating axe fiercely slashed at the dragon lizard's neck. The dragon lizard's body couldn't endure it. It rolled several times and rolled away. Tang Ao held the axe and spun a few times to offset the recoil. At the same time, he used the momentum to slash again. Adding Tang Ao's 25,000 pounds of force, this strike had the terrifying power of 40,000 pounds. The dragon lizard felt the pain from the first strike. Seeing the second strike, it didn't dare to take it head-on. It turned around to run away. How could Tang Ao miss this chance? His figure disappeared again. When he reappeared, he blocked the dragon lizard's escape route. The sky-dominating axe slashed in the air, slashing right in the middle of the dragon lizard's head. Immediately, the dragon lizard's skull was smashed. Brain juice splashed everywhere. Hot blood gushed out, burning the ground red and turning it into glass. Collecting the dragon lizard's beast core and bones, Tang Ao caressed Little Sky. His eyes had a gleam of cunning. I've cleaned up the dragon lizard. Let's go check the precious materials you mentioned. If there's none... Chapter 125. Walking to the edge of the canyon, Tang Ao looked around and jumped down. As soon as Tang Ao left, three figures jumped out from behind a huge rock in the distance. It was Duan Batian and his two lackeys. Brother Tion, you're letting him go just like that? Why didn't you attack earlier? We have to wait. Once he's done searching for those treasures, his true origin will be greatly depleted. By then, we'll use some tricks, and those treasures will be ours. Duan Batian's eyes shone with greed as he laughed sinisterly. Brother Tion is brilliant. The two followers couldn't help but start flattering him. The canyon was split from the top of the mountain to the bottom. The cliffs on both sides were almost smooth, and there were no uneven rocks protruding out. It was as if someone had split it with a sword. Due to the darkness and moisture, the bottom of the canyon was covered in twisted and withered vines. It was obvious that they were burnt by the fire dragon lizard's body temperature. If he went down a few dozen feet, he would not be able to see any light. It was pitch black. Even if Tang Ao used the Heaven's Eye art, he would only be able to see 3 to 5 meters ahead. Master, let me do it. Little Sky seemed to know what Tang Ao needed. It twisted its body and ran out. Its body emitted a silvery white light, and its illumination effect was not inferior to a torch or a specific illumination treasure. With Little Sky's illumination, the road ahead was clear. Their speed also increased, and they could see the 2 rows of cliffs at a glance. Caves of different sizes were scattered all over the cliff, and from time to time, there would be 1 or 2 roars or a few green gazes coming from the caves. I can't believe there are exotic beasts that use the flame dragon lizard's nest as their shelter. Tang Ao looked at the 2 rows of caves longingly. Do you air-piercing snakes do the same? Nope. We don't have a fixed residence. We live wherever there are treasures or delicious food. It's so boring to always live in the same place. Little Sky's glowing body spun around, as if it was disdainful of the animals that lived here. Tang Ao shook his head with a bitter smile. It was not easy for him to have a home, but now it was broken into pieces. It was unknown whether his father was dead or alive in the outer realm, and he had fought alone to protect the interests of the Tang family. Thinking of this, Tang Ao's heart was filled with complicated feelings, and he also sped up a little. Like an ape climbing in the jungle, Tang Ao grabbed a branch and slid straight to the lower end. Then he grabbed a hole in the cliff and climbed to another vine, then another one. Repeating this process, he finally saw some fiery red light. Shao Kong flew down first, and then appeared in front of Tang Ao with a swoosh. Master, we're almost at the bottom. I see a lot of firestones like a small mountain. Tang Ao smiled. At least we didn't waste our time. Let's hurry down. Huh. Master, I'll bring you along. Shao Kong didn't say anything else. He burrowed into Tang Ao's chest and appeared at the bottom of the canyon. This is the earth firestone you were talking about? The pile in front of him was like a small hill. The bright red pile looked like a burning bonfire. That's right. Master, this is the earth firestone. If you add 1 or 2 tails of it during refining, the grade will increase by several levels after it is formed. Didn't Master exchange for a tiger bone dragon bow? It is now a true treasure mid-grade bow. If you add some earth firestone when refining it, this bow will jump at least 2 levels and reach the level of a spirit treasure. Divine weapons have mortal grade, true treasure, spirit treasure, immortal grade, god grade, holy treasure, and finally the supreme holy treasure that is almost legendary. Shao Kong explained to Tang Ao in detail. I see. It seems that people have been used to the use of life souls and have neglected refining. Tang Ao was deep in thought. My son's shooting arrow soul needs a good bow. When I gather the materials, I will study it carefully. Without another word, Tang Ao waved his big sleeve and took all the earth firestone into his pocket. Then, he continued to search around. Master, there's a cave in front. It is very hot. It should be where the dragon lizard used to live. Shao Kong returned from scouting and reported to Tang Ao. Tang Ao immediately followed, and sure enough, there was a big hole not far away from them. However, the inside of the hole was bright, and even from a distance, they could feel a wave of heat coming from it. The dragon lizard likes heat, so it lives in this place. On the one hand, it is hidden. On the other hand, absorbing the geothermal heat can help improve its cultivation. Then, Tang Ao walked into the cave under Shao Kong's lead. Sure enough, there was a magma lake the size of his own manor not far away. From time to time, the lake bubbled with white-hot magma. Fire spirit mushroom. It grows in such a place. Tang Ao rushed to a red mushroom in ecstasy and put it into his storage ring. Longevity, fire, Ganoderma. Dark flame, stone. 1,000 feet flame, fruit. Shao Kong was speechless as he looked at the excited Tang Ao, who was speaking incoherently. Looks like I'll have to find more treasures for Master in the future. Otherwise, I'll be so poor that I've lost my mind. Tang Ao tried his best to collect these precious materials and treasures. According to him, he would not use them even if he died. I should help him take care of them. After a while, Tang Ao put all the treasures in this space into his storage ring. He was so tired that he sat on the ground. Take a rest. Replenish your strength before going out. Master, it is time. You have to rest. According to the time when we came in, it is almost dawn. How many things have you hunted? Hurry up and go hunting. We will come again next time to find treasures. Tang Ao sneered. If you go out now, you can give them to others as a dowry. What do you mean? Someone is following us. I only found out when I released my aura when I was fighting with Dragon Lizard. There are about 3 people. That aura should be Duan Baishan's aura that I fought with before. Tang Ao frowned and thought about the cause and effect of the whole thing. When I just finished fighting Dragon Lizard, those 3 brats did not sneak attack me when I was weak. Instead, they continue to wait for us outside. If we go out now, we will fall into their trap. With their temper, we will not even have a chance to survive. So what should we do? When Shao Kong heard this, he immediately became nervous. His body straightened up, and his black and red snake tongue flicked out. Wait for us to recover our strength. When they can't hold on anymore, we will rush out. If we are lucky, we can kill them. Tang Ao's eyes shone with killing intent. Chapter 126. Tang Ao meditated at the bottom of the canyon for a while, and with the help of the invisible jade and stone body, the true origin that he had used up was quickly recovered. Let's go out and meet them. Tang Ao jumped up and grabbed a small cave, then leaped up and grabbed a vine not far away. He climbed up a distance, and when he reached the top, he kicked the cliff with both legs, then leaped up again. After repeating this for more than 10 times, he finally saw the top of the cliff. Whoosh! Just as Tang Ao emerged from the top of the cliff, an iron arrow whistled over, brushing past Tang Ao's scalp and landing on the cliff behind Tang Ao with a thud. Poof! The iron arrow on the cliff suddenly exploded, and a pale red smoke instantly filled the air. In a few breaths, the entire canyon was covered in pale red. Ah! The strange beast's screams echoed at the bottom of the canyon. Some of the bigger ones dragged their half-rotten bodies out of the cave, but they accidentally lost their footing and fell to the bottom of the cliff. Master, be careful. This smoke is poisonous. Shao Kong was so frightened that he squeezed into the depths of Tang Ao's chest, and only when he was close to Tang Ao's chest did he gradually calm down. Soul-devouring powder. How despicable. Although Tang Ao covered his mouth and nose in time, he still breathed in a little and immediately felt weak and powerless. Ha! Tang Ao, how does this soul-devouring powder taste? Do you feel weak all over? Don't be nervous. The more exciting part is yet to come. Duan Baishan's plot succeeded, and he laughed proudly. As expected, after a few breaths, Tang Ao suddenly felt pain and itch all over his body. When he scratched, it felt like he was scratching through his boots, as if the feeling came from the depths of his soul. So this is the soul-devouring powder. Damn it! Immediately, Tang Ao landed in a slightly larger cave in the middle of the cliff, and with his back facing the strange beast skeletons that had long been corroded by the soul-devouring powder, he sat down cross-legged and circulated his true origin to resist. In his dantian, a thick pink spirit energy was surrounding a drop of jade-colored liquid, stretching out thousands of tiny tentacles and slowly corroding the jade-colored liquid. In a few breaths, that drop of jade-colored liquid had shrunk a whole circle. Not good. My Naiden. Tang Ao used his divine sense to probe the situation, and he was so shocked by this scene that he broke out in a cold sweat. The inner core was the foundation of a martial artist's cultivation. The breathing of spiritual energy and the transformation of spiritual energy into true energy all required the participation and help of the inner core. After the pink spiritual chi invaded, not only was it not absorbed and assimilated by Tang Ao's inner core, but it turned the tables and began to absorb and assimilate the inner core. How could Tang Ao not be terrified? If he was completely absorbed and assimilated, then not only would Tang Ao lose his cultivation and become a cripple, but he would also lose his foundation. He would be instantly turned into pus by the soul-devouring powder. Immediately, Tang Ao's divine sense moved, and the true chi in his 365 major acupoints and tens of thousands of meridians was gathered by Tang Ao bit by bit. Hundreds of rivers converged, forming a flow of true essence in his dantian that was even larger than the pink spiritual energy. Charge! The tip of Tang Ao's eyebrows twitched, and the flow of true essence in his dantian began to surge. In the beginning, it was like a slow stroll, but within a few breaths, it picked up speed and was as fast as a galloping horse. Then it became faster and faster, and the momentum became louder and louder. It was like 10,000 horses galloping, crushing the pink spiritual energy with an earth-shattering force. Swoosh! Tang Ao's dantian surged violently, and the flow of true essence fiercely attacked the pink spiritual energy. It immediately broke into pieces and peeled off from the inner core. Phew! Tang Ao heaved a sigh of relief. The spiritual energy was broken, and as long as the inner core was preserved, he could slowly force out the remaining poison and recuperate before going up to settle the score with Duan Batian and the rest. As soon as he started to circulate his energy, he felt a sharp pain in his dantian. It was so painful that Tang Ao grimaced in pain. His back was instantly drenched in cold sweat. Ow! How could this be? After probing with his divine sense, Tang Ao was a little frightened. The pink spiritual energy that was originally broken into pieces actually attached itself to the inner core again. Compared to before it was broken, its volume was a little bigger, and it completely enveloped the inner core. Tang Ao was unwilling to give up. Once again, he circulated the true qi in his body and rushed towards the pink spiritual energy with great momentum. Just like the previous time, the pink spiritual energy immediately collapsed upon contact. After a few breaths, it once again condensed on the inner core, and its volume was a little bigger. After failing 3 times, Tang Ao once again pondered. True qi doesn't work. I can only try to change to origin qi. Once again, Tang Ao mobilized the true qi in his body. When it gathered in his dantian, the true essence suddenly changed. The huge flow of true essence gradually condensed and compressed, forming a flow of spiritual energy that was denser than the flow of true essence, but smaller in volume. Origin qi flow. With a hint of anger, Tang Ao directed the flow of origin energy to surge towards the pink spiritual energy. With a pop sound, the pink spiritual energy was instantly crushed in a mustard powder and was wrapped by the flow of origin energy into the inner core. Tang Ao was already sweating profusely and panting heavily. I didn't expect the conversion of true qi into origin energy to be so mentally exhausting. He immediately meditated to recover. Outside the canyon, Duan Batian and the other 2 who were squatting saw that there were no more movements in the canyon, so they crawled to the edge of the cliff. As soon as they stretched their heads out, they saw Tang Ao meditating below. Immediately, they laughed out loud. How's the taste of the soul-devouring powder? Do you feel uncomfortable all over? Hey, we're from the same sect, so there's no need for me to harm you. As long as you kneel and kowtow to me a few times and apologize, I'll give you the antidote. How about that? Sure, Brother Tion, pull me up first. I'll definitely kneel and kowtow to you properly. Tang Ao had just recovered, so he suppressed his anger and pretended to be weak. All right, in front of me, Duan Batian, a dragon has to lie down and a tiger has to lie down. No matter how powerful you, Tang Ao, are, you'll still have to submit to me. Duan Batian could not help but laugh maniacally as he thought of this. With the help of Duan Baishan's disciples, Tang Ao was pulled up. He slumped onto the ground weakly with his head drooping. Duan Batian laughed out loud as he walked to Tang Ao. He lifted his leg and wanted to step on Tang Ao's face to take revenge for slapping him with a shoe. Slap! Before the 2 disciples could react, Duan Baishan's figure flew out like he did on the Destiny platform. His huge body smashed a huge pit on the stone ground, stirring up a cloud of dust. His swollen face swelled up like a bun again. Why you dare to hit me? What are the 2 of you standing there for? Go get him. Duan Batian covered his face as he struggled to get up. The 2 disciples stared at Tang Ao in disbelief as they stood rooted to the ground. They only regained their senses when Duan Batian shouted at them. The 3 of them surrounded Tang Ao and attacked him from all sides. Chapter 127. 3 against 1. Tang Ao was not in a hurry. He first beat the weakest one to the ground with a few moves, then turned his spear to knock out another follower. Finally, he put away his spear, took out his shoe, and stared coldly at Duan Batian. Do you know who I am? Kneel down and kowtow to admit your mistake, or else my big brother will make sure you have no place in the inner sect. Duan Batian still looked like a dead pig that was not afraid of boiling water. He met Tang Ao's gaze with extreme arrogance. Idiot, I don't care who you are. Tang Ao did not allow any explanation. He straightened his spear, circulated all his mental cultivation methods, and slashed at Duan Baishan's head. Duan Batian did not dare to be careless. He immediately summoned 4 life souls and braced himself to face the attack. You're courting death. Tang Ao sneered and slashed at Duan Baishan's life souls with a force of 40,000 caddies. Bang! The 4 life souls collapsed upon contact, and the spear's remaining force did not disappear. It directly hit Duan Baishan's back. Duan Batian immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. His body flew backward like a fallen leaf in the wind, and another large pit was created. Tang Ao slowly walked in front of him like a god of death. He raised his foot and stepped on Duan Baishan's fat face. If it wasn't for the sect forbidding internal strife in the inner sect, I'd definitely pull out your bones and remove your marrow. Go back and tell your big brother that if he dares to provoke me again, I'll make him kneel in public for 3 days and 3 nights. Yes. Duan Batian spat out a mouthful of blood, and his teeth were scattered. He mumbled a word. Then his head tilted to one side, and he fainted. Humph. Tang Ao ignored him and walked toward the northern part of the primeval forest. That was the central area of the primeval forest. It was said that a peerless divine ape lived there, and Tang Ao wanted to try his luck there. Along the way, the number of strange beasts Tang Ao could encounter became fewer and fewer. Moreover, most of them had rather high cultivations. It really took a lot of effort and Shao Kahn's cooperation to kill them. Tang Ao decided to hide himself, and when he saw any exotic beasts, he would take a detour and ignore them. In any case, he had a good harvest this time, so Tang Ao didn't care about these few. Boom, boom, boom. The ground suddenly shook, and large numbers of birds and beasts in the western forest flew away in fright. Tang Ao was alarmed and jumped onto a nearby tree to scout the situation. He activated Heaven's Eye art, and he could see everything in front of him clearly. A herd of 80 to 90 red copper ancient horses seemed to have been threatened by something. They ran towards the east in fear. What's going on? This group of scarlet copper ancient horses seems to be running for their lives. Shao Kahn's snake head popped out. He was a little puzzled as he tilted his head and looked at Tang Ao. That's right, there's a big bird chasing after them. It's a pity that it's too far away, and I can't recognize what kind of bird it is. Tang Ao stared ahead and said slowly, Let's go and take a look. Tang Ao leaped and jumped towards the west. Chirp! A loud and sonorous chirp of a bird resounded through the entire primitive forest. The sharp chirp made Tang Ao's eardrums swell. F***CK. My ears hurt from the vibrations, even though we're so far away. Tang Ao was shocked by the big bird's strength. What should we do? Should we still go over? Snakes had a natural fear of bird-type exotic beasts. Shao Kahn's snake body trembled slightly as he asked in fear. No, let's go and take a look at its real body. After saying that, Tang Ao's body shot forward like a sharp arrow released from a bow. Chirp! Another chirp of a bird sounded, and the big bird spat out a huge ball of fire that fell from the sky. Rumble! It raised the ground within a circumference of several hundred zhang to the ground. The ancient scarlet copper horse was frightened again. It ran even faster and charged around, ignoring everything in front of it. Everywhere it passed was a mess. In the air, a huge silhouette swept past. It flew at a low altitude and uprooted all the trees in its path. With a flap of its wings, it created dozens of strong whirlwinds. In an instant, sand and stones flew everywhere, and dust covered the sky. Celestial fragrance, golden flame won. After Shao Kahn saw the big bird clearly, he was so scared that he fell into Tang Ao's embrace. He didn't even dare to show his face. A big bird that was entirely red, and its wings were burning with heavy flames, whistled past the top of Tang Ao's head. When it spread its wings, it enveloped the land within a circumference of half a mile. Its 7-colored long tail was like a rainbow as it streaked across the sky. The scorching temperature roasted the surrounding land. In a few breaths of time, the verdant trees were burnt and withered. Some even directly ignited into raging flames. F***CK. This big bird is at least at the 5th level of the Origin Martial Realm. Run, run, run. I don't want to be chased like last time. When Tang Ao detected the celestial fragrance golden flame wand strength, he immediately held his breath and hid. Screech! The golden flame wand raised its head and screeched. The sound pierced through metal and stone, and a ball of blazing flames lit up in its belly. Pooh! Another ball of flames was spat towards the group of horses below. Tang Ao just happened to be hiding below. F***CK. When Tang Ao saw that the situation was bad, he instantly used the mysterious centipede kick. He jumped from dozens of trees in front of him like a monkey, and only then did he get out of the range of the fireball's explosion. Boom! The flames behind him soared into the sky, and a mushroom cloud that was dozens of stories tall rose. The heat wave produced by the explosion quickly spread out and blew a large area of trees. A fierce whirlwind was formed, and rocks of all sizes were swept away in all directions. F***CK. Tang Ao frantically jumped all the way, avoiding the area affected by the airwave. Truly, a fire at the city gate brings disaster to the fish in the moat. I already hid so far away, but they still caught up. I can't stay here for long. No longer caring about the earth-shattering explosions and the screams of all kinds of exotic beasts, Tang Ao climbed and jumped all the way, leaving that place of trouble and heading northeast. A day and a night have passed, and there is still 1.5 days left until the end of the hunting meet. I should take advantage of this time to go deeper into the forest. Master, can we go back? You've gained enough anyway. Shao Kahn curled up in God's arms. The golden flame wand's power almost scared him to death. Who knew that Tang Ao wanted to continue exploring? The fear of the unknown in front of him instantly overwhelmed his fear of the golden flame wand. I killed a flame dragon lizard at the first level of the origin martial realm, and its strength is already 30,000 pounds. If I don't use my full strength, I'm afraid I will lose my life at the canyon. Although there are many opportunities ahead, I have too few methods to protect myself, and I can't deal with sudden dangers. You are right. Let's retreat first. Tang Ao carefully thought for a while, and felt that Shao Kahn's words made sense, so he went back the way he came. The ranking of the hunting meet was no longer important. Dozens of exotic beasts of the 8th and 9th level, and one exotic beast of the origin martial realm were enough to get a certain ranking in the hunting meet. Moreover, there was also a large amount of earth flame firestones. This trip was worth it. Chapter 128. Tang Ao returned to the Chisha clan first and handed over the bodies and Monster Dawn to the referee elder for inspection. Then, he went back to his own courtyard to cultivate. Tang Ao, there's a letter from home. A disciple handed over a silk letter. The letter was sealed with green mud and stamped with 2 big seal characters, Greenstone. Tang Ao was excited. He had been away for many days, and a letter from home was the greatest comfort to his lonely heart. At first, when he read the letter, Tang Ao smiled, and his eyes showed his longing for home. But when he saw that his father was still missing and his body had not been found, his smile gradually froze, and his face suddenly became gloomy. When he saw that Qin Yueshuang was engaged to the heir of a clan of the ancients named Xiahou Lin Yuan, his face became even uglier and his eyes were filled with hatred. There's actually someone who wants that broken shoe. She's just a Ziwei Dao form of destiny. If my hidden jade and stone is fully awakened, I can completely crush her. Tang Ao was very disdainful. A clan of the ancients? What kind of force is that? I should investigate it when I have the chance. Those who could be chosen by Qin Yueshuang must be stronger than Qin Yueshuang in both talent and family background. In other words, Tang Ao had one more enemy. Tang Ao immediately went to the Pavilion of Martial Arts to find Fuyang and ask about Xiahou Lin Yuan from the Clan of the Ancients. The Clan of the Ancients is a big family in the East Domain. It is said that such a family has existed since ancient times and has survived to this day. You can imagine how rich the family is. As for Xiahou Lin Yuan, it is said that he is the heir of the family in the future. He is talented and has outstanding cultivation. His strength is unfathomable. Fuyang briefly introduced the situation of the Clan of the Ancients and Xiahou Lin Yuan to Tang Ao. Why do you ask? Did you offend the Clan of the Ancients? To be honest, senior brother, Xiahou Lin Yuan's fiancée was once engaged to me, but I dismissed her. Now that I heard that she and Xiahou Linyuan are engaged again, I want to know more about it. Tang Ao simply told his story to Fuyang, deliberately ignoring the fact that he was tricked by Qin Yueshuang. I won't meddle too much in your own affairs. After the hunting meet ends, you have to make the best use of your time to cultivate. The inner court examination will be held in 3 months. It's said that the top few in this examination will be sent to the vast 1,000 domains to compete with the other disciples of the Eastern Domain for the inheritance of an ancient treasure. Fuyang persuaded. Boundless world? Ancient treasure? Tang Ao was stunned. Based on his memories from his past life, he knew that there were millions of life souls in the vast 1,000 domains. He had also heard of the appearance of a hidden treasure, but no one had actually seen it, so he didn't pay much attention to it. In this life, he had once again heard about the legend of a hidden treasure in the vast 1,000 domains, and it sounded so sure that it had even caused other sects to compete for it. This really shocked Tang Ao. Then, senior brother, I'll take my leave first. Tang Ao deeply respected this senior brother who had once saved his life. He cupped his fists and bowed, then returned to his own courtyard to cultivate. Right now, I have to improve my strength as soon as possible for the inner core examination. Tang Ao made up his mind and immediately sat cross-legged. He slowed down his breathing, opened his pores, and activated the ancient god moves the heavens. The hazy outline of the gas in his dantian became more obvious, like a human shape. Sure enough, the outline of the hidden jade body in stone has become clearer as my cultivation level has increased. However, it will still take a long time for it to completely grow. Tang Ao used his divine sense to check the situation in his dantian. The dantian has grown a bit stronger. When the time comes, I'll break through the first level and find a few more lives to improve myself. At that moment, Tang Ao suddenly activated his primordial qi, and the spiritual qi in the vicinity of the courtyard was completely absorbed by Tang Ao. Among the 365 acupuncture points in his body, a few big acupuncture points gradually lit up. After the primordial qi gathered, it transformed into a koi fish that swam into his dantian. Behind the fish's tail, a silver-white primordial qi belt established a connection between the heaven-moving meridian diagram and the few big acupuncture points. The heaven-moving meridian diagram can increase my strength by 5,000 pounds. The hidden jade body in stone stimulates the potential of my body and increases my strength by another 10,000 pounds. The effect of the world Overlord Axe Soul increases my strength by another 10,000 pounds. In addition to the original 20,000 pounds of the first level of the Origin Martial Realm, which is the power of 1 yuan. With nearly 50,000 pounds of strength, it's not a problem to deal with a third level of the Origin Martial Realm like Duan Batian. The Spear Force is still half a step away from the Mastery Realm. If I step into the Mastery Realm, I dare to fight with a 4th or even a 5th level of the Origin Martial Realm. Without saying anything else, Tang Ao began to comprehend the Mastery Spear Force. Originally, in the primitive forest, Tang Ao's battle with the dragon lizard had already reached the Mastery Realm. Now, he only needed to take that step, and he could step into the Mastery Realm. Tang Ao's closed-door training lasted for more than 10 days. The hunting meet ended, and Tang Ao actually got the 4th place. A disciple sent over 1,000 contribution points as a reward. Tang Ao continued to cultivate and did not even pay attention to that disciple. Like this. Look at the void, follow the flow. I understand, huh? Tang Ao looked up to the sky and laughed wildly. Following that, the 100 battle spear's soul condensed in his hand. However, the aura of the entire spear had quietly changed. It was no longer so sharp and domineering. It seemed more mellow, and the aura was more restrained. Chi-la, Tang Ao casually stabbed out with his spear. It actually cut through the air, and in that instant a fierce aura exploded. It was like an awakened primordial beast, blasting a big hole in the wall. Fortunately, I did not use essence chi. Otherwise, I would have no place to stay. Tang Ao was first surprised by his plain spear strike, and then he was happy that his strength had increased. Mastery Spear Force. It was done. The more strength he had, the more ability he had to protect himself. Tang Ao did not want to ask for anything. He only wanted to live a simple life. However, the world was unpredictable, and it was too much. He could only continue to become stronger and hold his fate in his own hands. Only then could he live the life he wanted. I have finished practicing the Mastery Spear Force. I need to familiarize myself with the Ice Crystal Sword and Ancient Spirit Finger. If I can cultivate another Mastery Life Soul, I won't be invincible among my peers. At least I will have the ability to protect myself when I encounter a high-level opponent. Tang Ao made up his mind. He closed his eyes again and immersed himself in cultivation. In another manner, Xiao Gudao was looking at a silk letter. He was in a daze for a long time. He looked hesitant and reluctant. Xiao Gudao was the second young master of a Xiao family in the eastern region. He was talented and had an extraordinary physique. Therefore, he was sent to the Seven Kills sect to cultivate at a young age. It seemed like the family valued him, but they were afraid that Xiao Gudao would be too smart and compete with the eldest for the position of family head. Therefore, they sent him far away from the family. Because of this, Xiao Gudao had always been indignant and furious. Chapter 129. What a great temptation this was. The future of a clan was in his hands, and all he needed to do was to keep an eye on Tang Ao. On the other hand, Fuyang had asked Xiao Gudao to take good care of Tang Ao because Fuyang trusted him. His future, his brotherhood, either of these two paths would hurt his interests, so Xiao Gudao had to think twice. Senior brother Xiao, do you still need to think about it? If you can't do it, I'll do it for you. I've long wanted to kill that brat Tang Ao, Duan Batian said as he covered his swollen face. His eyes were burning with anger. No, don't act rashly. We don't know about Tang Ao's background, and I'm not sure about the clan of the Ancients' determination to support me. When both sides are a bit blurry, you need to walk more and see more. Xiao Gudao took back the silk scroll and answered unhurriedly. Then what should we do? That brat beat me up like this. I'm a third heaven martial artist, but he treated me like this. Moreover, he insulted you, senior brother Xiao. Duan Batian was unwilling to give up and relayed Tang Ao's words in the primeval forest. That's too much. Xiao Gudao slammed his palm on the stone table, leaving a clear palm print. As soon as he took it off, the stone table immediately turned into powder. Duan Batian was stunned, but he quickly struck while the iron was hot. Think about it, senior brother Xiao. A disciple who just entered the inner court not long ago dares to openly challenge the authority of a veteran inner court disciple. What will happen to our dignity? How are we going to guide the outer court disciples in the future? If all the new disciples are like him, then we won't have the final say in the inner court anymore. Stupid. You're the one who offended Tang Ao and lost him twice, but now you're trying to lure me out? Oomph. Do you want to lie in bed forever? Xiao Gudao raised an eyebrow. His killing intent was obvious as he glared at Duan Batian, causing him to tremble. Xiao Gudao was at the 5th level of the Origin martial realm. The number of fate spirits he had was unknown, but it was estimated that he had 8. Ranked 40th on the Dragon and Phoenix rankings, Xiao Clan's second young master. He was sly and cunning. Tang Ao fell into deep thought as he looked at the information that he had exchanged for 100 contribution points. 8 inner sect life souls. Although I can fight with the greater success Spear Force, it's still a little tricky to deal with. If people don't offend me, I won't offend them. If Xiao Gudao is still the same as before, I won't bother with him. If you insist on going about things the wrong way, humph, I really want to know what kind of strength a cultivator of the 5th celestial layer has. Tang Ao clenched his fists, his vigorous fighting spirit overflowing. The most important thing now is to increase my strength. I've already made some progress with the Azure Lotus Sword Soul. If I cultivate for a few more days, I'm sure I won't be far from the greater success force. After setting his goal, Tang Ao once again fell into cultivation. Xiao Gudao pondered for a long time before letting out a long sigh. If he wants to rebel, so be it. Compared to the family, Fuyang is nothing. Duan Batian smiled from ear to ear. That's right. If senior brother Xiao makes a move, that Tang Ao will be completely subdued. Xiao Gudao lightly smiled. Although he gave off a warm feeling, his heart was extremely dark and valued profit over righteousness. Keep a close eye on him. If there's any movement, immediately report to me. If he goes out, immediately report to me. I'll go meet him. Duan Batian led his two lackeys with a face full of anticipation and excitement. Yes, senior brother Xiao. They really wanted to see how the tragedy that happened to them would be repaid to Tang Ao. Immediately, Tang Ao's soul went straight to the ninth celestial layer, the place where he awakened the azure lotus sword soul and began to comprehend the indestructible sword intent of the azure lotus sword soul. In his dantian, thousands of silver threads emerged from the hazy chi mass of the concealed jade body in the stone and coiled around the water, droplet-shaped inner core. Then, through the meridians of various sizes, they connected to the 365 major acupoints in his body. Immediately, Tang Ao felt refreshed. His ears and eyes were sharp. When he saw some simple things, he could instantly draw inferences about other things and connect them to the past and present. So there's such an effect. Then, it'll definitely be twice the result with half the effort. Without saying anything, his soul immediately sat cross-legged in the ninth celestial layer, guided the azure lotus sword soul, and began to comprehend. The so-called complete focus was probably the same as what Tang Ao was doing right now. Entering into a state where his intelligence was growing and his thoughts and consciousness were beyond what he had ever been in the past, his sword force cultivation had been soaring. It had surpassed the initial realm and directly reached the half-step sword force. It was only one step away from the advanced realm of sword force. However, it was this one step that made Tang Ao's 100-battle spear soul fall into the half-step spear force. It had been stuck for a long time. This time, the half-step sword force was probably about the same as the spear force. After many days of comprehension, Tang Ao's origin martial realm cultivation had gradually reached the advanced realm. Tang Ao had already started to touch the second level of the ancient god, moving the heavens. Generally speaking, after coming back from the primordial forest, Tang Ao's strength had risen to another level. It's time to come out. I'll find some materials and train the shooting sun arrow soul to the advanced realm. In the intersect examination, as long as there are no monsters, I'm 90% sure I'll pass. Tang Ao suddenly felt full of confidence. He pushed open the courtyard door, took a deep breath of fresh air, and walked straight to the martial skill pavilion. Someone had already reported his whereabouts to Xiao Gudao. Interesting. Hiding in the house for so long, he was actually training. Oof. No matter how much he trains, he won't be my opponent. Xiao Gudao smiled, tidied up his clothes, and walked towards the martial skill pavilion. This is the crafting clan manual. Please help me with the procedures. Tang Ao placed a thread-bound ancient book in front of the martial skill pavilion's elder on the counter. Elder, please wait. I've also taken a fancy to this book. I'll give you double the contribution points, and you can rent this book to me. What do you think? Before seeing the person, he had already heard the voice. Tang Ao frowned. He was immediately displeased. This book was found by me first, so it should be temporarily rented by me. If you want to read it, you'll have to wait for a few days. Xiao Gudao strode up the stairs slowly and looked at Tang Ao in disdain. The martial skill pavilion's cultivation method is profound and cryptic. Even if I lend it to you for a year, you might not be able to read it. Instead of wasting time with you, why don't you lend it to me first and let me read it properly? After that, I'll lend it to this kid. Elder, what do you think? The elder was expressionless, without a trace of emotion. The books in the martial skill pavilion are first come, first served. Tang Ao was very satisfied with the elder's reply. He raised his eyebrows. Did you hear that? First come, first served. Get out of the way. At this moment, Tang Ao felt that this Xiao Gudao was purposely making things difficult for him. so he did not speak nicely to him. He had also hit Duan Batian. This trouble would come sooner or later. Xiao Gudao acted like a hoodlum and blocked the way downstairs. I must read your book today. Otherwise, don't even think about leaving the martial skill pavilion. Xiao Gudao, don't go too far. Tang Ao was infuriated and warned Xiao Gudao with a hoarse voice. Chapter 130. Tang Ao suppressed the anger in his heart. Do you dare to fight me on the Destiny platform? What? Did I hear it wrong? He, of First Heaven, wants to challenge Senior Brother Xiao, who is a Fifth Heaven? He must be out of his mind. Duan Batian laughed mercilessly. You dare to challenge our Senior Brother Xiao. You must be tired of living. The old man must be tired of living after eating arsenic. Ha 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 ha. Faced with the merciless mockery, Tang Ao was determined and unmoved. Do you dare to fight? Xiao Gudao immediately put away his joking attitude and became serious. Let's fight. Why not? I want to let you know the difference between a trash and a genius. In the future, behave with your tail between your legs and don't be too arrogant. Tang Ao ignored Xiao Gudao and turned to walk towards the back of the mountain. Xiao Gudao followed closely behind. When they reached the back of the mountain, the disciples waiting in line instantly burst into an uproar. Isn't that the new kid from a few days ago? Why is he on the Destiny platform again? Isn't that Senior Brother Xiao? Did this young man offend Senior Brother Xiao? Senior Brother Xiao is ranked 40th on the Dragon and Phoenix leaderboard. TSK. Young people are too arrogant. This new kid is finished. Fuyang hurried up the mountain and blocked Xiao Gudao, saying coldly, Are you sure you want to do this? Then our agreement ends here. Xiao Gudao laughed and pointed at Fuyang. Don't overestimate yourself. Don't think that I can't do great things without you. Let me tell you, you can't protect this kid. Fuyang's simple and honest face instantly darkened, and he said coldly, Do you dare to fight me? Why not? But let me teach this kid a lesson first, then I'll take care of you. With that, he swung his sleeves and walked away, disdainfully looking at Fuyang with an extremely ugly expression. The two of them walked in front of the Judge Elder and signed their names on the life and death order. Destiny duel, life and death are decided by the heavens. Please come up to the stage. Xiao Gudao was the first to step onto the Destiny platform. He stood with his hands behind his back, his long hair and robes fluttering in the wind. He looked at Tang Ao as if he was looking at an ant. All right, do your best, Senior Brother Xiao. Senior Brother Xiao, beat that brat to death, beat him to death. Duan Batian and the other two hated Tang Ao so much that they gritted their teeth and clenched their fists as they cheered for Xiao Gudao at the top of their lungs. This brat dares to challenge Xiao Gudao. He is courageous. Given time, he will definitely achieve greatness. It's a pity that he was too reckless. Otherwise, our inner sect would have another genius. Him? He's just an idiot, a brainless thing. How can he be a genius? That's right. He dares to fight with Senior Brother Xiao Gudao. He's simply courting death. Among the spectating disciples, some mocked and ridiculed, while others sighed with pity. There were also those who didn't want to watch such a one-sided battle. On the Destiny platform, Xiao Gudao snickered. Brat, you actually have the courage to challenge me. Fine, I'll let you die a quick death. Buzz. With a ripple, 5 fate souls appeared on top of Xiao Gudao's head. They shone with multicolored light. Adding on Xiao Gudao's elegant demeanor, the spectating disciples couldn't help but sigh in admiration. 5 fate souls. 2 are at the 8th layer, 2 are at the 10th layer, and 1 is at the 12th layer. Senior Brother Xiao is indeed worthy of being on the Dragon and Phoenix rankings. Even the quality of his fate souls is of the highest quality. You probably don't know this. This is only half of Senior Brother Xiao's strength. Senior Brother Xiao still hasn't used the other half of his fate souls. His fate souls haven't even been fully unleashed. Contempt. It's a blatant disdain. Xiao Gu had an expression of pity for the weak. Admit defeat now. Kneel down and kowtow 12 times in front of all these disciples, and I'll spare your dog life. Tang Ao spat out a mouthful of saliva and cursed. In your dreams, Tang Ao immediately summoned the 100 battle spear soul, the 8 treasure goose plume saber soul, and the azure lotus sword soul. The 3 fate souls turned corporeal and quietly floated above Tang Ao's head. Apart from the azure lotus sword soul, the saber and spear souls were plain and rusty. Compared to Xiao Gudao, they were worlds apart. Xiao Gudao was a bit angry. He summoned 5 fate souls to give Tang Ao a chance to go all out. He didn't expect Tang Ao to only summon 3 fate souls. I gave you a chance, but you didn't cherish it. Now go die. Xiao Gudao let out a loud roar, his legs exerting force as he leaped forward, shooting toward Tang Ao, leaving only a trail of afterimages in his path. 5 life souls whizzed over, emitting different kinds of pressure as they attacked Tang Ao. Tang Ao didn't dare to be careless. He directly operated the sky-moving meridian diagram. The hazy mass of qi in his dantian suddenly surged violently. The 365 major acupoints in his body gradually emitted a hazy light, while the droplet-shaped inner core was spinning, constantly transforming the spiritual energy into yuan qi and sending it to every part of Tang Ao's body. Xiao Gudao's 2 fate souls entangled Tang Ao's goose feather sword soul and green lotus sword soul. The other 3 fate souls followed Xiao Gudao and Tang Ao's 100 battles spear soul and Tang Ao's real body. Tang Ao didn't dare to be careless. He took a step to the side to avoid the 3 fate souls. The 100 battles spear soul swung its hand. Unexpectedly, Tang Ao didn't push the 3 fate souls away. Instead, he was shaken away. Stabilizing his body, he secretly operated the Azure Dragon Nether Shadow Spear. A dark red dragon crawled on the tip of the 100 battles spear soul. The dragon's eyes opened angrily and roared at Xiao Gudao. Xiao Gudao shook his head and praised, I didn't expect you to have practiced the Azure Dragon Nether Shadow Spear to the realm of manifestation. However, trash is trash after all. He looked at Tang Ao with contempt and controlled the 5 fate souls to attack again. Tang Ao's expression didn't change. The body of the spear shook and 9 spear flowers appeared. First, he took a step forward and instantly exploded with 30,000 pounds of strength. He picked up a 10th level fate soul. Then, the 3 invincible sword bodies of the green lotus sword soul grew in the wind from the stamen of the flower. Clang! The 3 sword bodies came out of the body. Under the control of Tang Ao's divine will, they forcibly resisted the other 3 fate souls. The 8 treasures goose feather sword was covered with a layer of silver frost. With the use of the silver frost tyrant sword, the temperature of the surrounding air plummeted. There were even ice crystals. The cold air spread out, making the surrounding disciple shiver. 2 rays of light burst out from Xiao Gudao's eyes. He picked up the remaining sword soul and slashed at Tang Ao. The surrounding air barrier was cut open like tofu. In an instant, it was in front of Tang Ao. Tang Ao's Heaven's Eye Art had already seen the trajectory of Xiao Gudao's attack. Unfortunately, it was too fast for him to dodge. Then, the 100 battles spear soul straightened its body, ready to take the attack head-on. Don't take it! Fuyang, who was below the stage, hurriedly shouted to remind Tang Ao. At this moment, the blade was already very close. Xiao Gudao's ferocious smile reflected in his eyes. The killing intent that burst out from the blade made Tang Ao's soul shiver. Bang! The blade and the spear clashed. Tang Ao's body was sent flying. He felt a sweetness in his throat and blood gushed out. Chapter 131. You're trying to shake a tree. Do you really think that an ant can withstand my power of the 5th level of the Origin Martial Realm? Don't think that you're invincible just because you've defeated someone at the 3rd level of the Origin Martial Realm. After he finished speaking, Xiao Gudao raised his blade and slashed again. There was not a single trace of primordial qi on the blade. It was pure physical strength that was oppressing Tang Ao. Damn it, the difference in strength is too big. The power of the 5th level of the origin martial realm is 40,000 pounds more than my full strength. At that moment, Tang Ao no longer hesitated. When Xiao Gudao slashed with his blade, the aura of the 100 Battles spear's soul suddenly changed. The spear seemed to have fused with its surroundings. The trembling of the spear body, the trembling of the spear tip, and the swimming of the azure dragon on the spearhead were all so coordinated. Even the surrounding air let out bursts of rumbling sounds, as if it had found a soulmate. This is the boundless universe resonance, complete spear force. A disciple was so shocked that he couldn't speak. No wonder you dare to challenge the disciples on the Dragon and Phoenix rankings. So you've already achieved complete spear force. Insignificant skill. Xiao Gudao was truly enraged. With a thought, he once again summoned a life spirit of the 14th level of the origin martial realm. 6 life spirits shone brightly above Xiao Gudao's head and rumbled with each other. With an explosive sound, Xiao Gudao controlled the 6 life spirits and attacked Tang Ao like an arrow released from a bow. Along the way, there were many afterimages. The air barrier was constantly broken, and the momentum was like a tsunami. Tang Ao suddenly felt a huge pressure in front of him. In his mind, Xiao Gudao's attack path appeared. Immediately after, he swept his spear horizontally and pushed the life spirit's attack path. He lightly pushed the life spirit away and returned it to attack Xiao Gudao. When the life spirit was a few inches away from Xiao Gudao coldly snorted. He tried his best to control the life spirit and attack Tang Ao again. His true body was like a ghost, drifting erratically and rapidly approaching Tang Ao. Tang Ao leaped forward with his spear and stabbed at his face. To his surprise, the 6 life souls guarded Xiao Gudao tightly. Every stab was blocked by the life soul. Once the attack failed, the life souls would take advantage of the moment Tang Ao struck to attack the weakest spot in his defense. The 3 invincible sword bodies and the 8-treasure goose feather saber blocked the attack. Although they could only push the life spirits away due to their insufficient realm, they bought time for Tang Ao to return and defend. The power of controlling a life spirit with the divine sense was far inferior to personally controlling the life spirit. The 3 swords and 1 saber took the initiative to restrain Xiao Gudao's 4 life souls, and the 100 battle spear soul had the help of the dark red azure dragon. Xiao Gudao did not dare to be careless, so he led 2 life souls to fight it. The spear clashed, the dragon's sword and the dragon roared. The fist and palm clashed, the afterimages overlapped. The legs kicked each other, the dust flew up. All of a sudden, the life souls all performed their exclusive martial skills. Tang Ao's green lotus sword spirit's ice crystal sword, and the 8-treasure goose feather saber's silver frost tyrant saber. All of a sudden, the arena was filled with colorful lights. The life souls surrounded their respective bodies and flew back and forth, clashing with each other. Sparks flew everywhere, and chi blades flew everywhere. The Destiny stage was made from a huge piece of rock, and it could withstand a fatal attack from a Sea of Souls realm warrior. If it was a normal training field, it would have been flattened by the Yuan Qi clashing between the two, not to mention hundreds of attacks. There were more and more disciples watching from below the stage, squeezing into the crowd. The people who came later were still trying their best to squeeze forward, and the ones with higher cultivation even flew up to watch the battle. A cultivator at the 1st level of the origin realm fighting a cultivator at the 5th level of the origin realm. In a situation where Xiao Gudao has taken out his 6 fate spirits, they are equally matched. If this new disciple survives, his future will be limitless. A disciple with high cultivation praised Tang Ao. Duan Batian heard him and was immediately unhappy. He wanted to warn him, but when he saw that his opponent was on the Dragon and Phoenix lists, he let out a sigh of relief. However, he did not show mercy. So what? Senior brother Xiao still has 4 life souls that he hasn't used yet. If he uses them all, he can smash that brat Tang Ao to death. Future? Future is worrying. On the stage, Tang Ao and Xiao Gudao had already exchanged more than 100 moves. The two were evenly matched, and neither of them left any scars on the other's body. However, the two of them often clashed with their life souls, and their fists and feet clashed, making their arms numb. Tang Ao, on the other hand, became calmer. This battle has improved the compatibility between my life soul and martial skills. The warriors on the Dragon and Phoenix lists are indeed dragons and phoenixes among men. Xiao Gudao still has 4 life souls that have not appeared, and I still have 2. I'll have to be extra careful from now on, lest I run out of strength. Tang Ao wanted to rely on his special physique to slowly drag it out with Xiao Gudao. With the double support of the ancient god moving heavens technique and the invisible jade and stone body, Tang Ao was confident that he could grind Xiao Gudao to death because he did not summon many life souls. Xiao Gudao was secretly shocked. He had thought that he would be able to defeat Tang Ao in a few moves. Who would have thought that Tang Ao would not only not use his full strength, but he would also be able to fight to a draw with him? Controlling 6 life souls consumed a lot of his life chi. If he did not defeat Tang Ao quickly, he would probably be tortured to death by Tang Ao. At that moment, Xiao Gudao was a little anxious, and the momentum of his attacks became fiercer. However, Tang Ao used the phenomenal success spear force and the Heaven's Eye technique to neutralize Xiao Gudao's attacks. Each time, it was as if he was hitting cotton, powerful, but did not hit the ground. Damn it! Xiao Gudao cursed angrily. His thin and tall body suddenly trembled as he summoned another life soul to join the battle between Xiao Gudao and Tang Ao. 7 life souls. The pressure on Tang Ao immediately increased. The newly added life soul could take advantage of his 100 battle spear soul and the dark red azure dragon to attack and distract him. If he ignored them, it was inevitable that he would be injured. 7 life souls. 7 times combat strength. Thankfully, I had the ancient spirit finger to block that attack. If I were injured, Tang Ao shuddered when he thought of the consequences of being injured. Xiao Gudao seemed to see through the fear in Tang Ao's heart as he smiled sinisterly. Kid, you had a chance, but you didn't cherish it. Now die. The 7 life souls attacked at the same time. Xiao Gudao used his fists and legs to attack Tang Ao. Seeing that the situation was not good, Tang Ao hurriedly recalled the 3 invincible sword bodies and flew around him. The ice chains between the swords connected to form a defense. He held a saber in his left hand and a spear in his right. The green lotus 9-leaf leaf floated and rotated above his head. He circulated the iron steel sand, and a layer of black sand appeared all over his body, covering his body tightly. The entire defense was watertight. Bam! 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 7 sounds burst out one after another. Xiao Gudao's life, soul, flashed with the light condensed from primordial energy. It attacked Tang Ao repeatedly, but it was blocked by Tang Ao's defense. As Xiao Gudao closed in step by step, Tang Ao was bombarded by his life soul to the point where he had almost no strength to fight back. The huge force caused Tang Ao to slide backward. No, the attack is too strong. The 100 battle spear soul is suppressed by the life souls and can't be used. No, I have to fight. At that moment, Tang Ao controlled the 8 treasures goose plume saber soul with his divine will. With his right hand free, his fingertips flashed and primordial energy quickly condensed. He pointed at Xiao Gudao. Chapter 132. 1 finger to break 1,000 kilograms. When Tang Ao shot out his finger, Xiao Gudao's expression changed slightly. He retreated repeatedly to give himself room to defend. Then, he summoned an 8th heaven fate soul to block the attack in front of him. He was forced back more than 10 steps before he could withstand the attack. When he came back to his senses, the distance between the two of them had increased by more than 100 feet. Damn it! I was too careless. Xiao Gudao had originally wanted to force Tang Ao to the point where he couldn't fight back. Who would have thought that Tang Ao would have such a move? If it weren't for Xiao Gudao's amazing leg arts, it would have been unavoidable for his hand to bleed. You have completely infuriated me. If you can last the time it takes for an incense stick to burn under my full strength, I will spare you. Otherwise, today will be the day you die. Xiao Gudao's eyes were bloodshot as he stared at Tang Ao like a tiger or a wolf. Then, 3 life souls appeared above his head. 10 life souls. The 10 weapons formed a circle and spun above Xiao Gudao's head. The life souls shone brightly and resonated with each other. Another 10 different colored primordial chi seeped out of Xiao Gudao's head and fused with the 10 life souls. The light emitted by the life souls was even more dazzling. The 10 secret manuals augmented the 10 life souls. This time, Tang Ao was not confident. This was a crushing defeat of his own strength. Martial nephew Xiao Gudao, do you mean what you said? If you can last the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, this battle will be over. If you don't, Tang Ao will pay with his life? Asked the Destiny Platform's referee elder. He was not angry, but his voice was restrained, but it spread throughout the arena. Xiao Gudao did not want to fall out with Fuyang. If Fuyang flew into a rage and fought him, he would be courting death. Therefore, he gave the conditions. If Tang Ao did not meet the conditions, he would kill him. He believed that Fuyang would have nothing to say. A gentleman's word. Quick horse whip. After receiving an affirmative answer, the referee elder lit an incense stick and announced the start of the battle. Isn't senior brother, Xiao, making things difficult for himself? How muddle-headed. Not necessarily. Tang Ao only has 3 fate souls. Senior brother Xiao, who has 10 fate souls, is already going all out. I believe that senior brother Xiao will be able to defeat Tang Ao within the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. Duan Batian sneered. Senior brother Xiao will definitely win. That Tang Ao is merely struggling at death's door. The time it takes for an incense stick to burn is enough for him to kill Tang Ao 100 times. Not good. Tang Ao's heart skipped a beat. The trajectory of Xiao Gudao's 10 life souls attacks appeared in his mind. There are almost no blind spots. Unless he burrowed into the ground, it would be difficult for him to escape. Buzz buzz. Tang Ao no longer hesitated. The void above his head fluctuated, and an axe and an arrow suddenly appeared above Tang Ao's head. Tang Ao abandoned his spear and picked up his axe, leaping with all his might. 60,000 kilograms of strength was infused into the world overlord axe soul, sending the life souls attacking from above, flying with a swing of the axe. He then activated the mystic centipede kick and took a dozen steps in the air, striking at Xiao Gudao, who was controlling the 10 life souls. All of Xiao Gudao's life souls were mobilized, attacking Tang Ao from all directions. Seeing that Tang Ao had leaped into the air to break out of the encirclement, he quickly recalled one of his life souls. The other 9 followed Tang Ao, their life souls flickering. Tang Ao was not afraid at all. He dealt with it calmly and swung his axe, but it was blocked by the defending life soul. However, with his retreat blocked, Tang Ao could only move forward bravely. Break, break, break. Tang Ao roared and continuously swung his axe more than a dozen times. The force of the downward charge and his own strength added together reached a force of 70,000 kilograms. Xiao Gudao looked at Tang Ao, who was attacking with all his might in front of him, his eyes cold. Give up. 70,000 Jin is already your limit. Stop struggling bitterly. Kneel down and surrender, and I may spare your worthless life. Oh, Tang Ao suddenly revealed a playful smile. Xiao Gudao suddenly felt a chill down his back. He turned around and saw a golden arrow whistling toward him, only a few dozen inches away. The golden flames on the arrow spread, and wherever it passed, the air barrier automatically dissolved. There was no need to use brute force to break the wind. The surrounding temperature also gradually rose, burning Xiao Gudao, and a few strands of hair on his forehead instantly turned yellow. Despicable. Xiao Gudao could not help but curse. In front of him was Tang Ao, and behind him was the sun-shooting aerosol that had taken a long way to sneak attack him. For a moment, Xiao Gudao was in a passive position. At that moment, Xiao Gudao suddenly exerted strength in his legs and shouted angrily, "Tang Ao, you're 20 years too early to use strength to suppress me." Suddenly exerting strength in his arms, Xiao Gudao's thin arms suddenly bulged with muscles. He controlled a life soul to attack Tang Ao. Life souls were illusory. Not everyone could be like Tang Ao, who could turn illusory into reality. Power could not be transmitted through the life soul to the other party, and could only be controlled by the divine soul. The stronger the divine soul, the stronger the power. Xiao Gudao's life soul had at least 80,000 kilograms of strength, which was the power of 4 elemental forces. And his physical body had reached a terrifying 120,000 kilograms, which was the power of 6 elemental forces. His life soul bang collided with Tang Ao's life soul. The difference of 10,000 kilograms made Tang Ao's hands numb, and he was in a trance. Xiao Gudao saw the opportunity and punched at Tang Ao's lower body. Xiao Gudao attacked angrily, and this time he also had the power of 110,000 kilograms. Tang Ao's pupils shrank. The trajectory of the punch was clear in his mind. He twisted his waist lightly and dodged the punch. When another punch came, Tang Ao found the trajectory again and nimbly dodged it. The 9 life souls behind him whistled. Tang Ao had no choice but to jump into the air and distance himself from the life souls. From the beginning of the life soul's encirclement to the end, when Tang Ao took the opportunity to jump away, it all happened within a few dozen breaths. The surrounding disciples were dumbfounded. Oh my God, is this guy really only at the first heaven? He actually managed to fool Xiao Gudao and even managed to avoid the 9 life souls encirclement. If this continues, Tang Ao has a chance of lasting 5 minutes. Knowing the gap between him and Xiao Gudao, Tang Ao didn't engage in close combat with Xiao Gudao. He became as slippery as a loach. At the same time, he used his life soul to hold back Xiao Gudao's other life souls. The sun-shooting arrow soul constantly launched sneak attacks from behind, causing trouble for Xiao Gudao. After dozens of moves, Xiao Gudao was embarrassed and furious. He was clearly 4 firmaments stronger than Tang Ao, but his every attack was powerless. More than half of the incense stick had burned down, but he hadn't even touched the corner of Tang Ao's clothes since he had revealed 10 life souls. At that moment, Xiao Gudao had expended a lot of primordial energy controlling the 10 life souls. The primordial energy stored in the 10 life souls did not exceed 30 breaths. Damn it! If I don't settle this in 30 breaths, I might lose this duel. That would be the most embarrassing. I'm afraid I won't be able to suppress Duan Batian and the others. The outcome of his loss made Xiao Gudao shiver. He immediately roared at Tang Ao, "Tang, don't run if you have what it takes. Take 300 moves from me." Chapter 133. As he spoke, Tang Ao controlled the 8 treasures goose feather saber to block the incoming life spirit. He then jumped to the other half of the destiny platform and continued running. One was running, the other was chasing. The two of them started a game of cat and mouse on the stage, which made the audience speechless. He originally thought that with Xiao Gudao revealing 10 life souls and Tang Ao revealing 5 life souls, there would be an even more exciting battle than before. Who knew that it would be such a comedic outcome? TSK, TSK, TSK. Not simple. Avoiding the strong and attacking the weak. Reserving strength to temporarily avoid the sharp edge. In this competition, the victory has already begun to lean towards Tang Ao's side. Yeah, if Tang Ao doesn't die in this life and death gamble, his future will be limitless. At the very least, the one on the stage can't compare to him. Looks like there will be a good show to watch in this year's Dragon and Phoenix Rankings tournament. I hope those fellows can come back and suppress the situation. That would be interesting. Thump. The referee Elder banged his clapper, and his ancient voice echoed throughout the entire Destiny platform. Time's up. The competition is over. According to the rules set by Xiao Gudao himself, Tang Ao will be the victor if he lasts for the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. Well done. That's right. Good luck. Junior brother, you can do it. You have to train harder in the future. The surrounding disciples applauded, expressing their encouragement and appreciation. Among them, there were quite a few who were ranked on the Dragon and Phoenix leaderboards. If one could obtain their recognition, then one would not be far from being ranked on the Dragon and Phoenix leaderboards. Tang Ao respectfully returned the greeting, and even if he wasn't modest, he had to pretend to be modest. Thank you for your support, senior and junior brothers. Tang Ao, will surely work even harder and strive to ascend the Dragon and Phoenix rankings as soon as possible so that I can obtain good results in the intercourt competition. Xiao Gudao was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. He only returned to his courtyard with the help of Duan Batian and the others. Along the way, the disciples were pointing at him, mocking him instead of praising him. A level 5 martial artist was toyed around by a level 1 martial artist. Anyone would feel disgraced. Damn it, I was too careless. I should have dealt with that brat immediately. It was not the time limit of a joss stick. Alas, Xiao Gudao was extremely vexed, beating his chest and stamping his feet as he blamed himself. He had intended to embarrass Tang Ao, but who would have thought that he would help Tang Ao instead? After this battle, Tang Ao's name spread throughout the inner sect. Some of the older inner sect disciples who were in closed-door training began to take notice of Tang Ao. In all fairness, when they were in the first heaven, they did not have the courage and ability to cross 4 heavens to challenge. Furthermore, Tang Ao had grasped Spear Force to the phenomenal success stage. In the inner sect, the number of people who could cultivate a weapon life soul to the phenomenal success stage could be counted on one hand, and all of them were in the top 10 of the Dragon and Phoenix leaderboards. If Tang Ao's cultivation was 2 or 3 levels higher, he would definitely be able to suppress or even kill Xiao Gudao. Once a weapon life soul reached the phenomenal success stage, it could increase the power of the soul to control the life soul, forming a certain range around oneself. Unless it was a complete suppression, it would be lured by the general trend and deviate from its original attack trajectory, rendering the mission soul's attack ineffective. It was probably similar to a Rui-type defensive life soul, except that the Rui-type's defense was stronger. After returning to the manor, Tang Ao closed his eyes and adjusted his breathing, sorting out the losses and gains of this battle. Actually, Tang Ao was secretly rejoicing in his heart. If it wasn't for the fact that he had mastered the Spear Force and the Heaven's Eye Art, which allowed him to make preparations to block in advance, he would have lost the battle a long time ago. He might even have lost his life on the platform. With the soul to control the sun shooting arrow soul, the strength and speed are insufficient. I can't achieve the effect of catching the opponent off guard. I need to refine a large bow to better unleash my strength. Half-step sword force. After this battle, I'm still some distance from the phenomenal success stage. When I descend to the lower realm to find materials to refine, I'll cultivate it to the phenomenal success stage. At that time, with 2 phenomenal success stage life souls, I'm afraid that no one under the 5th heavenly layer will be my opponent. It's just that I haven't found a suitable secret manual for the world-conquering axe soul. When I descend to the lower realm, I'll go to the martial skill pavilion to exchange for a high-level axe technique martial skill. I'll practice while I travel. When I return, I'm afraid I'll be able to cultivate to the half-step axe force. After making his decision, Tang Ao immediately walked towards the martial skill pavilion. As usual, he met Fuyang on the upper floor of the martial skill pavilion. Tang Ao was just about to greet him when Fuyang scolded him in the face. "You little brat, you've grown up, aren't you? Do you think you're so great? grasping the phenomenal success stage and daring to cross 4 levels to challenge Xiao Gudao, who gave you the courage. Can't you use your brain when doing things? If Xiao Gudao didn't reserve his strength, or didn't make a bed of 1 incense stick, you'd be a corpse now. How could you even talk about entering the Dragon and Phoenix list and compete for the intersect assessment? Don't you know what's important and what's not? Tang Ao listened blankly, although he was scolded, but his heart was really warm. This kind of feeling was like an elder brother's strict love for him. After Fuyang finished scolding him, he calmed down a bit, cupped his fist with a smile, and said, "Senior apprentice brother's words are correct. This junior understands." Seeing Tang Ao's attitude, Fuyang was both angry and amused as he breathed a sigh of relief and said, "Why did you come here to pick a martial skill? Can I help you take a look? My Axol is still missing a martial skill, so I came here to take a look. You come with me, let's look around." Fuyang beckoned to Tang Ao, and the two of them walked side by side through the pile of martial skills to look for the axe-type secret manual. This splitting mountain axe technique is about the instantaneous eruption of strength. The axe can be fatal, and the strength can even split the mountains. Fuyang handed Tang Ao a brownish-yellow, thread-bound ancient book. The cover of the book was crooked and twisted, with the words "Splitting Mountain Axe Technique" written in seal script. This is the 9 overlapping wave axe, which emphasizes the layering of strength. When a 9th axe is used, the strength is already several yuan strength. Adding on the strength of one's own body, under this axe, even I can only retreat. Fuyang took Tang Ao to look through all the axe technique's secret manuals here, and finally chose the 9 overlapping wave axe from the beginning. This time I came to the mortal world to look for materials, to refine a big bow, and also to cultivate my own life spirit and martial skills. Time is of the essence, so I will take my leave. Tang Ao gave a bow to Fuyang and was ready to leave. If you want to refine artifacts, I have a suitable candidate. Go to the northwest. There is a village called Jade Hill. There is a master refiner. His name is famous in the Eastern Domain. You could go find him to help you. Fuyang pointed out a bright path for Tang Ao so that Tang Ao could save a lot of effort. "Thank you, senior apprentice brother." Tang Ao once again cupped his fist to express his thanks and turned to leave. Packing his luggage and bringing along the snoring Shao Kong, Tang Ao went down the 7 Kill Clans mountain and ran straight to the northwest. Chapter 134. Tang Ao galloped all the way. His speed was several times faster than an ordinary yellow buckskin horse in the mortal world. He could only hear the wind whistling past his ears, trees, and cities. He couldn't even see the afterimages clearly. Wow, senior brother Fuyang is really a scammer. They didn't tell me how far the northwest was, so I had to go down and ask them one by one. Walking out of a village called Changshan, Tang Ao could not help but mutter, "I already said I don't know. Is Yuchio village really far away?" Without any hesitation, Tang Ao continued speeding northwest. After asking around, he finally found the specific location of Jade Hill Village. "Phew, we're finally here." Tang Ao looked at the tall fence in front of him. A huge sign hung directly above the gate, and 3 large words were written in ancient seal script. Jade Hill Village. Although it was called a village, it was almost the size of a small town. The road was wide and solid, and there were many shops on both sides of the main street. There were people and cars on the road. Tang Ao took a quick look around. The prosperity of Jade Hill Village had far exceeded Tang Ao's imagination. Even little Sky could not help but poke his head out and look around curiously. "Let's go get something to eat. Then we can slowly inquire about the whereabouts of that refiner." Tang Ao lowered his head and asked, Great, great. It's my favorite." Shao Kong twisted and turned in Tang Ao's arms excitedly. Seeing that there was a restaurant in front of him that was crowded with people, he walked in. "Little fool, for meat dishes and 5 vegetables. The meat dishes have to be from beasts at the 5th tier of the body, refining realm, and above. The same goes for the vegetables." Tang Ao found a table and sat down. He called for the waiter to prepare the dishes. When the waiter heard the name of the dish Tang Ao mentioned, his face lit up, and he eagerly moved in front of Tang Ao. "Sir, please wait for a moment. I'll go prepare it. What would you like to drink?" 100 grams of dragon marrow and tiger bone wine. Tang Ao picked a table by the window and casually said, "All right, please wait a moment." The waiter ran off to prepare the dishes and wine. "Wait." Tang Ao took out a piece of gold worth about one tael. "I heard that you have a master refiner here. I want to inquire about him." The waiter replied with a cheeky smile, "So you want to ask about Master Song Hatong?" Speaking of Master Song, it turned out that this village was originally a small, rundown village. All the young and strong who could go out had left, leaving only a few old, weak women and children in the village struggling at death's door. Song Hedong happened to pass by. She couldn't bear to see such a tragic scene, so she gave alms to these poor people. Originally, Song Hedong just wanted to go on a sightseeing tour, comprehend the heaven and earth, and polish her artifact forging skills. It just so happened that this area was sheltered by mountains, surrounded by water, and beautiful scenery, so she decided to settle down. As a master blacksmith, there would be people seeking him no matter where he went, not to mention that he had settled down here. Naturally, there would be an endless stream of visitors. With more people, the village gradually developed and prospered. The waiter spoke with exultation, spittle flying everywhere. "You really asked the right person. Master Song lives next door to my house. The old man likes peace and quiet, and doesn't want to be disturbed. He only sees a few people a day, and if he's in a bad mood, he won't see anyone, so you must be mentally prepared." "That I know. Thank you." The waiter took the gold and went to work, satisfied. One person can form a town. This Song Hitong is really amazing. Shao Kong popped out a snake head from his pocket and said in surprise, "That's right. Song Hitong is so warm-hearted. We might be able to ask him for help." Tang Ao said casually, carefully tasting the tea that the waiter served. The waiter quickly served the food, and Tang Ao and Shao Kong, one man and one snake, wolfed down the food as if they had never eaten in their previous lives, sweeping away all the food on the table. Soon, the table was a mess, and the other customers who were eating on both sides were shocked. "Let's go." Tang Ao patted his stomach in satisfaction, threw 2 gold ingots worth 10 taels to the waiter, and strode out. Following the waiter's instructions, the two quickly found a large, workshop-like manor in the southeast corner of Jade Hill Village. From time to time, rhythmic hammering sounds could be heard. This should be the place. Tang Ao strode into the courtyard. More than a dozen young men were bare-chested. Their muscles were bouncing up and down along with the hammering of the sledgehammer. The light of the fire was reflected on their sweaty dark backs, making the courtyard even hotter. "Please wait a moment. This is a place of forging, and unauthorized personnel are not allowed to enter." A sturdy middle-aged man blocked the two, not letting them go any further. "Oh, we're here to see Master Song Hitong. Please help me tell him." Tang Ao didn't dare to be presumptuous in front of outsiders, so he cupped his fists and asked, "Is that so? You've come to right time. Master is here. Please wait for a moment in the meeting hall." The man made an inviting gesture. Tang Ao didn't dare to act rashly, so he followed the man to the meeting hall. Stepping into the meeting hall, Tang Ao was stunned. So many people, be it the chairs for guests or the hassock, they were all occupied. Some even lined up outside the meeting hall. Some were leisurely, as if they didn't care about waiting in the hall, while others looked anxious, secretly complaining about Song Hitong's arrogance. Tang Ao calmed himself down, found a quiet place to sit down, and closed his eyes to rest. "Master Song Hitong has arrived," the man announced at the top of his voice. Then, an old man in a gray robe walked in from the back of the hall, shakily supported by his disciples. The old man looked so frail that he could not even stand a gust of wind. It was as if a slight push would break his bones and tendons. "This is Master Craftsman Song Hitong. He's just a rotten old man." "A rotten old man knows how to craft?" I've waited for so long for nothing. What a disappointment. A rotten old man. Song Hetong coughed a few times, his hands trembling as he held on to the armrest of the chair. This old man is Song Hetong. I'm ill. If I've done anything impolite, please forgive me. Cut the crap. Old Song, our East Domain MO family want to craft a spirit treasure divine weapon. Tell me, how much do you want? A young man dressed in luxurious clothes called out to Song Hetong, his face arrogant and unreasonable. Oh, if that's the case. Song Hetong looked shocked. He turned to the man and the disciples behind him. Go throw the MO family people out, so they don't dirty the meeting hall. Well, what? You're an old man. Do you know who we are? You actually... Let go, you barbarians, let go. The young master of the MO family didn't say much before he was thrown out by the man. Even the guards behind him didn't have a chance to fight back. I can't tell, but these disciples' cultivation is quite high. Tang Ao's expression was normal. This old man is really sincere, interesting. Chapter 135. I'm the eldest disciple of Boundless Building, Sure Geiwe. I would like to ask Master Song to forge a whip-type divine weapon for our sect. This is the deposit of 2 orange-gray jades. Once the weapon is successfully forged, our sect will also give you 2 yellow-gray jades. Song Hetong smiled and nodded. He beckoned to the disciple behind him. Take it and record it down. Forge it when you have time. I thought this master blacksmith who helped the villagers get rich was noble. Turns out he's also a greedy guy. Xiao Kong poked his head out and muttered to himself. I think he's quite good. His temper suits my taste. Tang Ao looked at Song Hetong with interest. That's true. You're also very strange. That old man's taste for you is not strange at all. Shut up. Say one more word, and I'll reduce your portion for dinner. Tang Ao reprimanded Xiao Kong. Immediately, Xiao Kong's snake head wilted, and he obediently shrank in Tang Ao's arms without saying a word. With the example of young Master Mo and Boundless Building's Master Guiwe, the people who came to ask Song Hetong to forge weapons were much more polite. The deposit they gave was also much more generous. Some even offered 10 yellow-gray jades. Their generosity was shocking. It's your turn, young man. What do you want? How many jades did you bring as deposit? A disciple from an aristocratic family asked scornfully. He glanced at Tang Ao and asked, Don't tell me you're so poor that you don't have money. Go back while you still can. How dare you ask Master Song Hetong to forge weapons for you when you don't have money? Stop dreaming. Tang Ao turned a deaf ear to them. He ignored the group of disciples and respectfully cupped his fists towards Song Hetong. I am an inner disciple of 7 Kill Clan, Tang Ao. I beg Senior to forge a bow for me. Song Hetong smiled and stroked his beard. So you're Tang Ao. Fuyang told me that you lack a big bow to control your life spirit. Then, where's your payment? I don't have any payment. Without any payment, I'm forging a divine weapon for you. Are you trying to get something for nothing? The crowd laughed loudly. He doesn't even have any payment. Look at how poor he is. And he says he's an inner disciple of 7 Kill Clan. What a shame. I'm dying of laughter. I laughed so hard that my stomach hurts. Tang Ao's face suddenly changed. He looked around at the disciples of the aristocratic families and cultivation sects and said in a righteous manner, Humph. I had thought that the cultivators who stayed away from worldly affairs were just a bunch of bootlickers and money snobs. Ever since I joined the 7 Kill sect, I've been cultivating my character. I'm indifferent to fame and fortune, and I view money as dirt. Since everyone wants to see, open your eyes and take a good look at the foundation of an inner sect disciple of the 7 Kill sect. As he spoke, he waved his sleeves, and one after another, large boxes landed on the floor of the meeting hall. There were more than 10 boxes in total. When they were opened to take a look, everyone was instantly dumbfounded. Pieces of earthly yellow-gray jade stones were neatly stacked in the box. The jade stones emitted a faint radiance. It was unknown how many levels higher they were compared to the deposits those sects and clans used. These were all things Tang Ao had obtained after taking care of the people who had been chasing him. There were even elders among them. It could be said that he could take as much as he wanted. Are you all satisfied? Master Song, as long as you refine a divine bow for this junior, these jade stones will be the reward. What do you think? Tang Ao's sudden outburst silenced everyone, and it also made Tang Ao speak more forcefully. All right, little brother is really extraordinary. I can help you refine this big bow of yours. Halfway through her words, Song Hetong stopped and looked at Tang Ao as if she was hinting at something. Tang Ao understood at a glance. He then cupped his fists and said, Master Song, if you can help me refine this godly bow, as long as you have a request, I will not hesitate to go through water and tread on fire. Song Hetong nodded slightly and praised, Come with me. Boss, I'll leave the rest to you. We'll take these jobs. Sigh. All right. The man accepted the order and led his disciples to count the deposit and make a list of the grades. Tang Ao followed behind Song Hetong carefully, afraid that the old man would fall and trap him if he was not careful. Ha ha ha. There's no need to be so reserved. This old man's body is still strong. Song Hetong brought Tang Ao into his room and then took out an ancient painting and a letter. This old man would like to ask for your help. If you succeed, this old man will help you refine a peerless godly skill. A peerless godly bow. Tang Ao was a little excited, but he restrained himself and cupped his fists. Grandmaster Song, if you have something to say, just say it. If it is within this junior's ability, even if I have to go through fire and water, this junior will not hesitate. Haha, little brother is indeed a straightforward person. This old man will also be straightforward. It's like this. This old man has a granddaughter called Balian Xin. She lives in Qingping Town. I want you to go to her side and protect her. The duration is 1 month. This painting and this letter are the proof. You just need to show them to her when the time comes, Song Hetong said. You have to be careful. Although this old man has not been involved in family matters for a long time, the feud between the Bai and Huang families has been going on for generations. This old man was also involved in it and only managed to escape after much difficulty. So you have to be careful. Song Hetong added with a hint of helplessness in his words. This old man understands. If there's nothing else, this old man will be leaving first. As for the forging of the bow, Tang Ao finished negotiating the conditions. He wanted to say something, but stopped. Don't worry, I have a dragon tendon here. Together with the best forging materials, it won't be a problem to recreate the glory of the ancient sun-shooting bow. When you successfully complete the task, I will forge it for you when you return. Song Hetong said confidently. Thank you very much, Master Song. Immediately, Tang Ao packed his bag and dry food. Following Song Hetong's directions, he headed for Qingping Town, northwest of Yuqiu Village. Tang Ao hurried along the way. With a clear direction, Tang Ao quickly found Qingping Town. Qingping Town is just ahead. I've been on the road for half a day again. Little Kong could not help but complain. The road to happiness is strewn with setbacks. I feel that he will help me forge a different longbow. Tang Ao's eyes were filled with longing. Suddenly, he became alert. Wait, I hear the sounds of fighting. Let's go take a look. Sure enough, beside a stream more than 5 kilometers away from Qingping Town, there were 2 groups of people, one white and one yellow, fighting. There were a total of 500 to 600 warriors. Waves of vital chi fluctuated, and from time to time, there were explosions of air waves. There were also all kinds of life souls flying around. Among them, there were 2 middle-aged men dressed in yellow and white. They were fighting fiercely. One look, and anyone could tell that they were the leaders of the 2 groups. The Huang family and the Bai family are mortal enemies. Let's go ask and help the Bai family. When the time comes, it'll be easier to close the gap. Tang Ao thought for a moment, then sped up and rushed into the battle. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.